A little what's up, guys, and a little bit of Barry gaming here, and blah 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 blah, and doing this next and that this that yep. All that nonsense.
Hey guys, Barry Gaming here. Hey guys, Barry Gaming here. Hey guys, Barry Gaming here.
Hey guys, Barry Gaming here.
What's up, guys? Barry Gaming here today. What's up, guys? Barry Gaming here again today. What's up, guys? Barry Gaming here. What's up, guys? Barry Gaming here, back with some more Idle Heroes. What's up, guys? Barry Gaming here. What's up, guys? Barry Gaming here. What's up, guys? Barry Gaming here, back with the Dungeon Daddy and Pasty Legs MK. Right here. This is gonna work. Where this left bottom corner. Yeah, there we go. It's like they got a space. Oh. Do I do it again? What? What? Are you serious? Yes! Oh, guys, this is it. Yes! Yes! Oh, yes! Go! Oh, Penny, yes! We did it, guys! We did it, Valentino! There we go, we got another Drake. I was gonna say... Oh my god! So just so you know, if you're ever thinking, maybe I should do Light and Dark Orbs, don't. What is happening here? 5-star. Can't believe it. Already have 2 carry copies, and the carries are just going to... What? Yes, we got another Russell. Don't die. Oh my god. We got 2 huge actives though. Oh!
Here, Barry, use this for the content.
Kevin, stop! Oh no! Oh, can we do it? Come on, Ada. Tara, Ada, let's do it! Oh my god! Ninja Aspen in the house, boys and girls. Oh, but we still got it. No! Of course, after we wait, we get a 1. But guys, we need to do something for Wally here. So as you see right here, Wally has 1,300 scrolls. He's got 1,300 scrolls. That's not too bad, right guys? We're giving him all the scrolls he needs to do the event. Sponsored by Coca-Cola and Jack Daniels. Please sponsor me. What's up, guys? Barry Gaming here. We're going super fast because we don't know what else to do, so we're talking really fast to get this over with and get right into the video. So, what's going on? How's everybody doing? Okay, that's not the right scene whatsoever. There we go. Now it's better. All right. We got to get the chat box off. Whether the chat box is going to work tonight or not is a whole different question. Hey, it's working already. Cool. I like it. I like it a lot. We're going to get Rex on here in a minute. Barry, what's up, Thirsty? Amanda, yeah. Did you see Dungeon Daddy actually responded in Discord? Wait, what do you mean? Huh? Who? What? Huh? Huh? Who? Huh? No. Where do you respond? I didn't see. I mean, I talk to him every once in a while still. I still talk to June. I miss June. How you guys doing? How's everybody? It was a single emoji in general. Oh, good lord, man. Good lord, Canadians. What can I tell you? Freaking Canadians, right? Oh my goodness, how's it going? All right, so let me go over what we're going to be doing tonight, and then I'm gonna get Rex on a call on Discord, and hopefully the audio works just fine. You guys can help me regulate how loud to make him. So the plan today is we're gonna be kind of going over and discussing every one of the 17 Transcendence heroes. Now we're gonna be talking about their new abilities. And I kind of want to get a good feel and kind of get a good discussion going, especially with Rex, since he has a lot more super endgame experience. He's got more experience with the treasure train power as well. So we're gonna try a bunch of stuff out. Barry, at your last video, I noticed you had your A tier HHA in the tenant slot. Yep. Yeah, I've swapped it around. If you guys want to see, I've actually completely fixed my account now, which is why I have like so few gems. So essentially, I've just put all my power into our Doom Terminator Vulcan right now. We have our, I almost said EOS, my goodness. We got our Djen with pretty good power here, working on this Vulcan over here. HHA is back to being powerful, and we have V3 plus on the tenants. Same with Lord of Fear Aspen, V3 plus on the tenants. And we have Queen in the last slot. So we're like pretty much good to go. We have 5 heroes, of course, Queen's still in the 30s to 40s. We got a lot of work to do, but I finally fixed it so that everything's good to go now, so that we can actually do proper pushing the Void campaign. Essentially, not using Star Swordsman, Mockman, G-ster, Asmodel, EOS. Like, all these heroes are all pretty much tenants. I was tempted to get rid of our Freya, all the power on the Freya, and distribute it elsewhere, but we'll see how that plays out. I have a lot of misappropriated flags just because I don't have enough flags right now. So I have like light flags on less than optimal heroes and such, but that's pretty much where we're at now. So is new event good? No clue. So we're going to be going over all the heroes first. Rex is going to be here once the event goes live. Yeah, it's like my half birthday. This is just when, if you guys didn't know, I guess July 28th is when this feature came out, because that's when everybody pretty much did it. Or actually, no, I think the 27th, because I messed up and I did it for the following day. So yeah, that's interesting. MK just pulled an A+ on stream. Nice. Was it his account or is it for one of the viewers? Just pulled an A+. Oh, I mean from a B+ stone. Yeah, okay. I thought you were just talking about from like nothing. We had someone in our community pull an A- jar up from a free awakening today, which is really awesome. I use my real birthday like a normal person. I don't even know what to say, Kumar. Well, I don't even know what that is. Okay, anyway, let me get Rex on here. Let's go. Let's do a voice chat. You guys let me know how loud it is. I can regulate it after. All right, let's see. We're connected. You there?
I am here.
How's the audio level, guys?
I should say something probably.
Do you want him a little louder? Or is it pretty good? He's got a deeper voice, so you know.
Well, that's part of it, I guess.
Yeah.
Louder says in chat.
Louder, he's too quiet. Okay, I'll jack up his audio. All right, try that again.
Okay, I'll try that again. Maybe it's better now, I hope so. Discord is always kind of a...
Yeah, it's weird. You should be peaking just under me at this point. I think that should be pretty good with the levels.
That's perfect. Under you. Just under you. When it's your stream, it makes sense.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it's also just, I mean, I'm a lot closer to my mic and everything. It's weird because like it really depends on if I move around a little bit, I peak into the red. If I just move forward a little bit, but I'm like in the green if I'm just 1 inch further back. It's really weird how my my settings are for my mic, so.
I have no idea about mic settings, to be honest. I watched the video to set it up. I'm happy it works.
Yours works good. It works good. Usually mine, I set a bunch of filters up so like when you're not talking, it makes sure it doesn't pick up background noises.
Oh yeah, I did
all
that
those
too.
things.
That was in the video. Quite happy about that. That helps a lot, actually.
First time on live, 5 a.m. here. Man, that's rough. It's not quite 5 for you, right, Rex? It's like probably what?
1:30 a.m.
Yeah, I was like 1:32, something like that. So let's get into it so he can go to bed here in a bit. He can see the events, go to sleep, all that fun stuff.
That's all right.
Yeah.
I'm very lively still, so that's good.
And guys, make sure I'll link it at the end, but make sure you guys go follow his channel too. I think you're up to like what? Are you up to like 7,000 subscribers? Can't remember the last
Yeah,
time I
right
looked.
now 7,500.
7.5. Nice, nice.
Getting
Not bad.
closer to the 10K. That makes me quite happy, to be honest.
Yes, you got to set like the little personal goals and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's your favorite hero? I mean, it's probably Doom Terminator Vulcan right now. Although Asmodel really crept up close. I just don't think I'm gonna be using him right now. I want to use Asmodel in his new kit, but I'm like, I feel like I'm gonna waste my time doing it at the same time. So it's really, really, really tricky. This is going to be his channel here, guys. Let me copy this and paste it into the chat right now so you guys can follow right now. Put that in there a couple times. I'll maybe sub just because Barry says so. Be quiet, Amanda. All right,
I'm actually setting up Asmodel.
Oh yeah, I was really tempted to. We'll talk about it more when we get to him because I feel like the pairing of a strong Doom Terminator Vulcan and him provides a lot of really good support to a team. Like a lot of good support and damage. They're like they feel like the best of both worlds.
He just looks really fun. I mean, like he was always a stable and Void campaign, one of the first heroes that actually cleared it. And now I got a good copy, so I really want to. Just struggling with the core though. I never got that, so that's kind of a problem.
I did just because I was using it on Vulcan and like literally it's 12% attack, and which comes out to be next to nothing in attack. But I was at the point I'm like, you know what? I'm just forcing as much power as possible onto the Vulcan, and then I just didn't need it. I was overkilling. I go back and forth going with him as one of my main heroes. My problem is like he's such a good tenant for my heroes too, so it's like I don't want to have 3 Asmodels on my account.
And I mean, like you got a perfectly good Vulcan there.
I know.
So right? I guess that's fun enough as well.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Skylo, for that. All right, so let's get started. Let's talk about these Transcendence heroes. Now, mainly what we're going to be talking about are the Destiny transition skills here. I think the alert might come up for a second. I don't know how loud it's going to be. But essentially, from what it looks like, at least, there it is right there. So when you first unlock your hero, I can actually show you guys with my Vulcan really quick so you guys can understand how it works. When you first start unlocking your hero, you basically get this bottom, I guess we'll call it a modifier, right? Because it's basically everything is modifying your transition skill. So the first one's not really that crazy. This is just the way you generate your it's either there's like 4 different terms they use for it: flying power, ascending power. All these powers mean the same thing. It's just their translations are complete garbage. But essentially you get that. Once you then go up to the next level, you basically unlock this one over here, which is actually one of the really good ones. Like, I'm surprised you get this left one so early on in the leveling process, because this one is one of the best damaging ones for most heroes. I don't know if you noticed that, Rex.
It's definitely one of the good ones. And I mean, like, on the first upgrade, you also unlock the main ability, the first variant of that. So that's kind of major
it's
as well.
Just, what I've seen is a lot of heroes' first version of the transition skill is utter garbage. Like, it's so bad on someone. Like, Vessa's is almost like non-existent. It's like, why even have it? Like, it's just so bad.
Then again, Vessa's skills are nearly non-existent. Like, they really did her dirty at that point.
I know. But once you unlock this one, you get your first power up. I imagine what it's going to do is go left and then maybe back to the right side, because this is a pure, like, kind of supporter style. I don't know. Do you know the order they actually unlock just yet?
Yeah, it's middle, left, then the right one, then top left, top right, top middle, I think.
That's not bad then. So you get back to the top left quickly. However, you're not going to get to that node for quite a while.
Yeah, it should be the order you see when you click on it in the hero.
That makes sense, because technically you need what? In order to get up to that 4th one, you need Temple level 4 to get your first slot on the left side. So basically this is the biggest. I feel like getting to this is the biggest power gain, because you're getting the 2 really big damaging nodes on most heroes. Like, if we just talk about, like, even just we go to the first hero that we're going to talk about, I just call her Djen now. But essentially this top left one and this bottom left one are usually the biggest damage dealing bonuses besides the top. I figured the top would be last anyway, so it's not too bad, I think. What do you think?
I think the main thing is they are quite often very individual for the hero. Those are the nodes that they seem to have really designed for those heroes. And the other ones, you often get abilities that you will find on other heroes as well. So I guess, they have the most impact in that sense. Yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
These are like, from what I've seen looking at a bunch of different heroes, and we'll see a lot of them today, it feels like there's a pool of like 6 or 7 different abilities for this node and this node. And each hero has just like 3 specific ones out of that grouping. And you'll notice a lot of heroes share this ability with other heroes. That's, at least that's what I've seen. I haven't seen any that have been like completely different than anybody else. They're at least shared with somebody else. Whereas the right or the left side ones, most are unique. Some of them are generic, but the generic ones are basically the ones that's like, oh yeah, just do 1000% attack AoE. It's like, okay, no, that's fine. I'll take that generic.
Yeah, sometimes they even mix in like one different ability. Like on G-ster, you see that dot enhancing ability. And sometimes they do that, but yeah, in general, you're very right on that. But I think I like it in a sense. It's a bit like enabled, where you choose between like crit damage reduction and then the attack stuff. And one thing fits for one hero, one thing fits for the other. And maybe there's a role for the hero where you want the crit damage reduction instead of the damage, but it can switch around. And I think it's quite all right from the design perspective.
Definitely. Now, the one cool thing with Phantom Dawn, the bottom one here for most heroes, is I feel like a good majority of people, I mean, the normal attack one feels like it's going to be something very few heroes use in a very niche scenario. Kind of like, I mean, honestly, if you were to have Djen still doing Star Expedition next season, she'd be wanting to get this one right here. Most people are going to be doing active skill ones, I feel like. It really just depends on what the meta is. We don't really have much energy drain going on, so actives come pretty reliably. Or this one here, when self is damaged by active or normal attacks, there's an 80% chance to get 1 layer. I feel like this is kind of the PvP one to go for most of the time. Or game modes where you're going to get hit a lot and you might not get a ton of actives. You might only get 1 or 2 actives in the entire battle.
It kind of also depends on where you set your heroes and who the enemies are.
That's true
Especially
too.
like in Void campaign, you can pretty much know where the heroes are going to attack. Pandas, for example, always going to attack spot 1. If you put HHA in there, he will get hit a lot. And then you, of course, also have Taunt on like Mockman and HHA if you have the core. So if you got that active, you can pretty much decide that he will get hit.
Yeah, or
so
if you go... Yeah, if you go up against like even like a Void campaign mode or something where you know you're going second, like there's actually a chance you could get like at least 3 layers right off the bat before you even do an attack or something, because they're going to outspeed you. And if you know the enemies are going to hit like backline, like you were saying, then you can kind of play that out. So these are generic. You're going to see this on every single hero. That's really nothing to talk about. But let's talk about Djen's left side here, the Glowed Glory. So 3 different abilities. For the enemy hero with the lowest HP, each negative effect on the target will cause an additional 600% damage. I think she does now like currently 1,000 on her when she uses her attacks. That one's okay. We got the middle one. There is an additional 50% probability to reduce the energy of the enemy front row hero by 30, and a 50% probability to reduce energy by another 20. That's some energy drain. And then the last one's deal additional damage equal to 20% of max HP to the front row heroes, maximum 1500% of her attack, of Twin Shadow Lilianne's attack. I love all the names in here. They're so good. Yeah. I mean, Asbu is obviously the best hero in the game now, so he's never not going to be called Asbu. I'm sorry.
Definitely.
What do you think about this? Because she does have an option for damage. She does have an option for, I mean, if you're going crazy with negative effects, attribute reduction effects, she can do a lot more damage. Or, you know, if you need her as a utility to drain energy, she does feel like one of the more flexible Glowed Glory slot.
Yeah, I think it really depends a bit on the role you assign her to in your team.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I mean, the last one, in my opinion, is straight up weak.
Yeah.
Like 1,500% attack, that's a cap that will definitely hurt this ability.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise, I could have seen it in PvE maybe, but like we got 5,000 attack caps on the sublimations of some heroes I saw. I think SFX has a 5,000 attack cap on the counterattack. So that is kind of good, but then like, if you have the last one, you can target the lowest HP, which in my opinion is quite huge, and then you get like 600% attack damage for every negative effect, which today, you got like a ton, especially in PvP. You got 5 from the counter attacks of SQH, so that's kind of major. And on top of that, like you will see a lot of negative effects just by the DGN spreading it with her active skill as well. So that one is definitely better than the last one. For the middle one, I would say, I mean, if you use her as a support, not as a damage dealer, maybe not as a homeowner even, I would definitely go for the middle one instead of a damage version. So I kind of like that they put both ways in here.
I do too, because you're not forced to just pick an offensive one. It's actually a decision here. And the one thing about Djen that I've noticed on my account, she is amazing at both being a damage dealer and a supporter on your account. You can literally you can build her whatever way, and she's actually very useful in both manners, no matter what game mode you're talking about. I used her, her and Doomterminator Vulcan. I finally got Sealand 35 done. There will be a video tomorrow on it. But literally, Doomterminator Vulcan having the higher attack so that he gets the mirror effect. And her basic attack shield is probably one of the most brokenly powerful things I've seen. Giving to her and him. He could literally live the entire... He went like 8 rounds with him alive. And that was with like a crown and like it was just amazing the second I did that change, because she was my most powerful hero. All I had to do was drop her like 1 million attack and instantly it became beatable. It was insane.
Yeah, that's definitely very good. Maybe another thing, like we see those energy drain or energy reduction abilities now on quite a lot of heroes, and I think that has actually potential for being a PvP meta thing as well. Like if you stack up energy reduction on a lot of heroes, you got it on PDE, normal skill, then you get like all of those ascension skills that reduce energy as well. If you put all of that together, you got a lot of energy drain.
And you don't really notice them, but they add up pretty quick. So overall, I like her Glowed Glory. Now for her Sun Halo extra increase your own attack. So some heroes say attack, others say damage. I think they actually are 2 different things. I don't think it's like a translation thing. I think they're actually 2 different ones. So if you're building your offensive, 15% more attack, cool. The middle one, in addition, increases the critical strike damage of all heroes by 50. I don't imagine that's going to push you over the 150% cap. So at least on endgame accounts, I feel like this is kind of useless unless you're like specifically knowing. But again, it's not as reliable to go off and everything, because these type ones are only attached to when this goes off, right? That's my understanding of it. If it doesn't say like after a normal attack or something like that, is attached to the transition skill going off. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is my understanding as well. Like those effects are all put together with the main one. But then, of course, you have to consider like how many layers do you actually need of World's Flying Force at the moment. But like this one is 3 layers, so it's pretty easy to trigger.
Reliable to get it off.
Unless you are CC'd. Like if you choose the basic skill variant to gain the Flying Force, then you just have to do a basic skill, even if she gets energy drained. Unless she is CC'd, she will have that.
It basically just means at the end of the round, it might go off if you have the layers, which again, you might not even have to attack. You could just have this. You could be CC'd probably, and we think it'll still go off. We'll have to see. And then of course, last one, I think every hero has this, increases own speed by 100 for 2 rounds.
Probably not. I mean, like if we are not really in a speed meta, what you said about the critical, what you said about the critical strike damage, I definitely agree on that though. Like we are capped on the end game accounts, at least for most of them, for the critical strike damage. Then again, I mean, like if you don't invest into it, this almost seems too powerful to me. I'm very eager to see the better translation of this, because this might actually be a mistake. I mean, like all heroes 50% critical strike damage on a stat that is capped on 150, and that is triggering every round for 2 rounds, so it will be active in the next one.
Granted, we do have to say this is good for this will probably be very good for non-big whales, because most of us have the the anniversary treasure that literally gives us like over 50% crit damage. It makes hitting the crit cap so easy, because so many heroes give buffs to crit damage in combat as well. But someone who doesn't have treasures, this could actually be really good. And then otherwise, flat bonus. This, like I said, you're going to see pretty much the same thing on every hero. Now, the left side here. In addition, for our front row heroes, there's a 50% chance to randomly clear 1 attribute debuff. see how that. I don't know. It's weird because so many other heroes have like deal 1500% additional damage twice or something, and then her, she has like
Mhm.
an attribute debuff removal. There's 50% chance to increase the energy of all allied heroes, so she literally has a demon bell attached to her ability, or there's a 50% chance probability that all heroes gain 1 layer flying power. That one's interesting. I don't think 1 layer is enough for how often this is going to go off, but again, if it's only every 3 layers, it could go off every single round. And typically when you see something say all, this will probably translate to say all allies, that includes yourself.
Yeah.
So
I mean, 50% probability is kind of bad. So it's like
yeah,
0.5 layers of flying power on average. But then again, you feed it to the entire team. So like I'm just thinking about some of the heroes that got skills that only trigger on like 12 layers of flying power, 12 layers of ascension power. They will have a hard time hitting that in a normal
Agreed.
PvP fight. So if you can like give them a few layers, that might actually
make
help.
a big difference. Yeah, you might be able to get it to line up with your Doom Terminator Vulcan weakness disclosure active. Not like you need it, but like yeah, because Vulcan's is one that's pretty rough. We'll get to that one, but this was interesting because it's literally just a pure support where normally this is pure damage on most heroes. The Demon Bell energy feed is the interesting one, but again, 50% chance, not very reliable. We'll have to see how that plays out. So that one's like okay. And then this is the big one here. This is the one that modifies the entire thing. This is, I think, the max version of it. When you click this one, I think this is essentially the highest it goes, right?
Yeah, that's like the last one that you get, and it will take forever probably for us to reach that.
Oh yeah, a long time. Even if we get like enough, because the whole thing is you have to level like your whole account up. You can't just go straight to the top with 1. You can go straight to the middle with 1 pretty much, and that it still might take a while. So this is the Ascension one. At the end of the round, if you have 3 or more layers, which is really good because it's very few layers, very easy to get, there's a 100% chance to apply one of the following random effects. So she keeps doing this. It's the same thing her core does as well. Attack reduction. God, I hate how you can't click on this. It just jumps out of the way. Speed reduction or armor reduction. So not anything like huge, but again, this will proc all the other things that are attached to her. So the 3-layer one might be pretty good. And then if you have 12 or more, you consume them. So you go back down to 0 and have a 100% chance to apply 3 negative effects. So attack reduction, crit reduction, and I can't actually see the bottom, guys. It doesn't actually let you see the rest of the skill, which is like really, really annoying on here. Have you been able to see like the bottom? Oh, wait, there we go. I actually got it to work.
Now you can go out of that window.
Oh, my
if
God.
you go out of that window and then click on the middle in the window before you, where you can also go to the transition temple.
Right here.
That works.
Yeah. That's interesting. But at least now I know if I just keep holding the mouse, it'll do it. According to the negative effects on all enemies, so then she'll deal an additional 2,000 attack damage, which is interesting because 2,000 is a significant amount, and that's probably based on the number of negative effects on the target. So that could be a huge amount of damage.
Yeah, there's also a second change there that I noticed on some heroes. It also changes the basic version. It's no longer consume 3 layers of flying force, but if you have 3 layers of or more of ascension power, well, same as flying force.
Well, yeah, that's what I noticed is the low number of layers. It's just you automatically get the buff, which again, I imagine should trigger all these other effects that go off, the shielding you see on some heroes, things like that. Whereas the 12, you're literally consuming all the layers, you're going back down to 0, and then you get a bigger effect, which I kind of like that. You're getting small buffs, and then big boom payoff.
Yeah, that's nice, but I mean, like the unupgraded version of that skill consumes the layers. The one consumes the 3 layers.
Right.
And
that's because there is no 12. Gotcha. Because this right here.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
And well, like I think that's a huge effect actually. Like attack reduction by 50% for 3 rounds, and that's another attribute reduction, and she can probably spread that with her active skill. I mean, if you get 2 stacks of that, that's minus 100% attack. And she can
Yeah.
easily achieve that by just applying this and then doing an active skill, and it will be on all of the enemy heroes.
Yep, it'll be pretty insane. So,
Yeah.
what would you grade her? I'm gonna try to grade these heroes like on a 1 to 10. So, first off, she's not just a pure damage dealer. There's gonna be a few on this list that are just 100% damage dealers. Lord of Fear Aspen is one of them. He's just 100% all-out damage. A lot of these heroes have a mix of bonus damage and bonus support to the team, and I almost feel like I'm leaning towards liking those more because the straight up damage only feels useful in like Star Expedition, which will probably start beating even after the Djen fixes and everything, I think, very soon.
In my opinion, she is like one of the better heroes, definitely, if not one of the top ones.
Yeah.
This combination of like reducing the attack by 50%, then being able to work with that as well, spreading that's really insane, could be very strong. I mean, if you get that on a Void boss, good, those guys have Purify, even a stronger version of Purify. That purifies multiple effects, but like if you can spread that on them, that's literally like them doing no damage. It doesn't matter what modifiers they have. It doesn't matter if they have holy damage. It doesn't matter if their damage is enhanced. It is just 0 damage. So that can be huge if you can get that to stick a little bit.
And the other thing I wanted to mention too, because I was thinking about it the other day, we have so many heroes that have things that give additional energy around too. It's almost like we're going to get to the point where we can actually, like even in pure PvE game modes, you might be able to run multiple Antlers Cane style heroes and make them viable because you won't need demon bells and stuff like that, because you might be able to rely on energy, especially this bottom right node on a lot of heroes feeds energy to either like front or back row or something like that.
Yeah, for PvE, that will definitely be scary. I mean, like in PvP, you're probably feeding an DTB with that. But like, I can see that working.
Yeah. I kind of feel like I'd give her like an 8 out of 10 overall, just because she does her role extremely well. But I feel like those last 2 points, like you have to be the best in a certain category. I don't know though, but she's so strong.
I can see that. I mean, 8 out of 10 is pretty fair. I think you wouldn't want to build her as your first, like, what is it called? Wait, I forgot the name.
First Transcendence hero.
No, not first Transcendence hero. I have no idea about that, but like the first hero that you upgrade to the max.
Oh, yeah. What are we actually calling this anyway? I guess Destiny?
I think they called it Nirvana or something as upgrade level.
The first one is Origin, which is really confusing because we already have Origin levels. Half the community calls it tree levels, the other half call it Origin levels, so it just adds a layer of confusion to this, having it still say Origin.
It's Origin, Surge, Chaos Core, Polystar, and Nirvana. Nirvana for the last one.
Yeah, that's the fully powered up. And as you go up these, you gain divine power for your account as well. And Temple, that's a whole nother topic that we'll talk about.
Yeah, that is definitely very important now.
These stars are what's going to make things like Star Expedition probably be beaten next month. Like, I could see it even with the Djen fix. I could see people, because you're going to be getting a lot more damage output. Yeah. By then we'll have probably 2 events that are giving these what are they called again, Aurora gems, and we'll probably have quite a few heroes with some bonuses. So all right, moving on from her, we'll try to pick up the speed a little bit now that we've kind of gone over how these actually kind of work. So again, G-ster, pretty much same thing down here. Now G-ster is an interesting one. I kind of thought he was going to be really overpowered at first. However, I'm going to jump and just say one thing real quickly. Unless it's a translation issue, most of his abilities go off of his normal attack and not his active ability. So we're going to have to kind of reserve the rights of not knowing if this is a translation issue or if that's how it works, because that's a huge difference on how we rank him. Now, bottom left, really weird. He has his additional 15% damage in the bottom left and not the top right like a lot of other heroes. The middle one, inflict additional 8% to the target, again max at 1500, so you've seen that on the other heroes, and increases the continuous damage to targets by 20% up to 5000. Now that is normally good, except just about every endgame game mode nowadays has the upgraded Purify on the enemies, which means you might be doing all this time to do like a lot more dot damage and then they just completely disappear, which sucks.
Yeah, this one hurts me, to be honest.
Yeah, I wish, like, I really wish Purify at least didn't like do dots or something like that from the bosses.
Yeah, but also pains me what they did to him with this basic skill stuff.
I
Like, if that
know.
is really true, that's I wanted to upgrade him.
I know. You were ready
I
to
had
too.
hope. I had hope. I wanted to use him for Flame Shrine, but
He's
in Flame Shrine you got full energy feed. It's never going to
yeah,
trigger.
it's never gonna happen. So this is pretty much the middle one. Feels like it's gonna be typically the only one you use, I think, unless for some reason 15% more damage ends up being more. Again, it just really depends on how you're gonna end up building him. And then here you see increase own attack by 15%, restore self HP. So a lot of them, and this one's pretty much like a lifesteal effect, which is really interesting. However, I feel like that's not as necessary nowadays. I wonder if this works like Balanced Strike, though, where if you kill the target, don't get the heal. We'll have to test that out as well. And the last one, again, speed. So, interesting that he has two different options, though. A heal or additional damage, depending on how you're using him, I guess. I don't see this one
probably damage.
I don't see this one being too useful, honestly, just because of the amount of shielding we have nowadays. But...
yeah, that as well, definitely. I guess like you go for damage on him.
Yeah, you just go straight damage.
The 5,000%. The one who's dot damage. Yep. I mean, we have to see how that works out. Yeah. It is the basic skill that triggers it, so we have a strong damage over time effect. But like, yeah. And that pains me.
So this top left one's pretty good because this one's cool if you have 6 or more layers additionally. So it doesn't consume them. It's just if you have 6 or more, you're additionally going to deal more burn and more poison damage, but only to back row heroes. The only thing I don't know, I was going to mention this on Djen too. I don't know if these types of effects will take place if there is no front row. Like for this one, if there's no back row and there's only front row, will this work on the front row heroes? Does that turn the front row into the back row? I don't know.
We don't know it yet. On past heroes, it usually did.
Yeah. It basically just turned it into it's now the back row and the front row essentially. Which again, this could be good because that's more dots if you're building dots. This one's just awesome. Just straight up 2,000 attack damage to all enemy heroes. That's a solid damage number, and it's to up to 6 targets, so really good. And then the last one,
huge.
Oh yeah, yeah. This one's just absolutely crazy. And then additional damage equal to 40% of the lost HP will be dealt to the 2 enemy heroes with the lowest HP up to 1,500%.
It is an additional hit, but it is. I mean, straight up weaker than the middle one.
Yep. The only positive of this is again the second hit, so it really depends, I guess, on really how much skill damage. I wonder if skill damage is going to affect these. Ooh.
Well, it's triggering on the basic skill, so that doesn't give me much hope. But like the thing is that I don't get on this one, the right one is capped on 1,500% of attack. The middle one is 2,000% and hits the same heroes as well.
The only positive, literally the only positive on this is holy damage. You get a second layer of holy damage hit. So if you have crazy holy damage with Gurk or something, then this would be the better option than I'd imagine. But really hard to say.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, like, if anybody's even going to upgrade him. I heard we get some better translations very soon.
Good. I think what they did is they wanted to rush it out because typically what happens, this is what the translations look like on TapTap because it's literally just Google Translate, plug and play, whatever they use over there. They don't have Google, but it's pretty much word for word. If I take whatever they have on their WeChat post and paste it in, it's almost like word for word the same. So they just push it out to get it going, and then they'll localize it later. But this is the big issue we talk about. So Ascension combat skills change to when our hero's normal attack hits, aka normal basic attack. That's the big issue we have. If you have 3 layers, it will add an additional 1,000 attack damage to the target with a 50% chance to reduce the target's energy. That's awesome. If you're at 12 layers or above, it'll consume the 12 layers and additionally cause damage equal to 120% of the remaining poison and burn damage up to 5,000% attack. So a big boom hit. Yeah. Every game mode you typically want to do big numbers in, you're energy feeding, I feel like. So you're never using a basic, which is the biggest issue. So honestly, I was tempted to rank him as one of the best damage dealers coming out of this. But the fact that it's normal, I mean, I guess it's really going to have to come down to translations. But if it's basic attack like this, I mean, I'd probably want to give him like a 3 out of 10 or something. Because so much of his power comes from his normal attack in this. But so much of his power comes from his active normally.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. How honestly,
for for the disappointment, I would have given him a 1 out of 10. Like that really hurt me.
2 out of 10
if that
it
was the
is.
active skill. Imagine if this was the active skill.
Oh,
You go
man.
for like the one that gives you 6 layers of ascension
Yep.
power. You hit that 12 ascension layers every second round, and you just destroy Flame Shrine or some other game mode. And it would have been a competitor to LFA.
Yeah,
honestly,
I was gonna say it would
for
have been really, really close. It still wouldn't have been
Yeah.
there because LFAs are actually just bonkers crazy. Spoiler, we're not to him yet, but I think he's the first hero most people should actually get this destiny tree going on, whatever.
Yeah.
Let's go to Ilamok next. Ilamok, again, same things down the bottom left here, or middle, left side, pretty much same thing as G-ster, 15% more damage. Another one inflicts damage based on HP up to 1500%, and the right one additional continue. Like, this is literally like this is literally like pulled from G-ster almost identically.
Yeah.
I mean, I really wish this would have actually been a support one for him. But
his support would have fitted him a little better. I'm not sure about his skill as well. Like the main skill, 3 layers, of course. Yeah, 600% attack damage to a random enemy hero 3 times.
It's basically like his active again, essentially. Like, which it could add up. Honestly, I have seen Ilamok do some really crazy damage with the number of hits he has and everything. It's interesting. I don't know. I feel like the middle one's what most people are probably going to pick on him. Top right, again, own attack, restore HP. Again, this is literally cut and paste from G-ster. Top left, additional 600% burning damage applied to the target for 3 rounds. That's pretty cool. That way you have a dot on the enemy. Wait, does he have a
that's cool.
dot by default? No, he doesn't, right? No. Yeah, his active doesn't have a dot typically. So that's pretty cool because that actually gives you a burn synergy for Phoenix.
We only have burn on counterattack usually.
Yeah.
This will be like 600% burning damage for the lowest for one random enemy.
Yeah.
That's something to keep in mind.
Yep.
Personally, I like the right one as well.
Yep.
Like just giving him a shield every single round on top of the already existing shield, though. We have to see if that handles with GPF.
Yeah, that's very true.
If like Gilded Purple Fan triggers after that, then we're wasting shields here.
Yeah,
but other than that, it could be quite good. And I mean, like 2000% attack damage to all enemy heroes. Why not? We can take it.
My hope
if we
is
put it on every single hero,
yeah,
that's just a big nuke
big
at the
damage.
end.
Yeah, he already does decent damage if you build him for damage. Yeah. Honestly, it's just he's overshadowed by a lot of heroes. If we didn't have like Mockman and Vulcan, he'd actually do pretty respectable AoE damage. Nowhere near what they do, but yeah, probably like 3rd, 4th, 5th, somewhere in that ballpark of straight AoE damage. But yeah, the last one I really like. Hopefully what happens is the fan procs, it gives you the 30%, and then this acts on top of it, because the main ability here is at the end of the round, so you don't have to use your attack or anything. It's just at the end of the round when you have 3 layers, you cause 600% attack damage to random enemy heroes, and it'll be triggered 3 times. If you have 15 layers or above, it'll consume them and additionally deal 1200% attack damage to all enemies, adding burning damage equal to 8%, capped at 1500%. So it's really good because this is a very passive one. Like, he doesn't have to, he doesn't have to do much of anything. But again, it's just pure damage. There's no support, and he is a support on your team.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like, he's the one hero where I really say, okay, let's use like the one thing for the flying power where he gets hit and gains flying power. That's something I can really see on him.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, having a passive ability on that kind of fits the theme. But like, it's really it's no damage that is insane like we saw on other heroes. There's probably no way of making him deal insane damage with that.
Hold on.
But like, I like the burning synergy. That's quite good. Nice for.
I want to interrupt for 1 second. Sorry. I just kind of thought he might be, if you are using his core in combat, this might be one of the best heroes to be using this on, because that guarantees at least 2 of the enemies are going to be taunted to him. Meaning he probably has a decent chance to get a lot of layers, especially if you position him well. And essentially, his is just end of round. So if you were to build him for a lot of these, so you can do, there's a 15% attack hit here, there's a 2000% attack to all enemies here, and then you're having all these extra ones. He just might have a lot of passive end of round damage. A lot of it is AoE as well.
You get like a lot of extra damaging hits. That's good in the sense. But I don't feel like it adds up. It doesn't add
It's
up
true,
too much.
yeah.
If you look like it's 600% attack damage to random
Yeah.
enemy hero, that might just be the tankiest homeowner getting
Yeah.
3 very small hits.
That's
In
very
that
true.
the hit is, I mean, like the basic one is probably not that insane. Then you have the other one from the enhanced Ascension skill,
Yep.
but he needs 15 layers of
It's
Ascension
a
power for
lot.
that.
That's a
So
lot. Even
yeah,
with
that's a
him being a
lot.
taunting hero, like the one thing we
Yeah.
did skip is the bottom right here. It is nice that it reduces the target, but I don't know what is going. I guess it's good when it says the target's attack. It's probably the initial first hit, or do you think it'll hit like if it hits 3 different random heroes? Do you think this type of effect applies to all of them?
I would say it applies to all of them, probably.
I think so too. The armor is interesting for certain game modes. You might be able to reduce a ton of armor without needing a ton. Like, I don't know. But then again, like a lot of game modes, we're running like 100% armor break now too. So it's like reduced armor doesn't matter because you're already breaking the whole thing. And lowering them by 30% doesn't mean, at least I don't think so, right? If you're lowering their armor by 30% and you have 100% armor break, it doesn't change the calculation at all, right?
If you have 100% armor break, armor doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, the reductions, it's not like it lets you do more damage or anything like that.
No, it doesn't matter. If you have like 100% armor break, you do the same damage as with 120%. I would have gone for the attack one or the speed one. If we go into speed meta, that's all right.
I was really hoping he was going to have the energy one here to back row. I was really hoping this node here was going to be giving 20 points of energy to back row. That would have been really, really nice.
Yeah, and on top of that, well, it says 2 rounds. This is an end of round effect. That's something to consider as well. So we lose 1 round right instantly.
At the end.
Yeah.
And you know they coded it like that.
Yeah, and then we get like another round where it's actually active. I mean, it's not bad to reduce attack if you combine it with like DGN. That can work. But like it's not insane, but it's good.
Yeah, I kind of want to rank him like a 4 or a 5 out of 10 because like he's not bad, but he's not like amazing or anything either. He's just kind of like middle of the road.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I can't. It's just like he just doesn't do anything better than anybody else is the problem. You're still going to use them though because you absolutely need these shields. These shields are going to be the only thing that keeps you alive because at least in the bosses from what I've seen, do you know if it's a counterattack or some sort of reflect damage hit when you hit all the enemies?
I know what it is. It is pretty long.
Yeah.
If I describe it. It is a counterattack in a way, but it scales with the skill effect that this boss has, and that enhances his damage every single round.
Yeah, and that's why the damage ramps up so fast. And literally, it basically means that's what's going to kill you. So I feel like heroes like Elena, Mystic Fairy Freya, their dodge isn't really going to do anything in this new game mode either because, well, it's counterattacks. You can't dodge counterattacks.
Yeah, exactly.
So you need someone like Ilamok, and honestly, I do think Vessa's healing might come into play. We'll talk about that when we get to her. Next up is PDE. I have not really looked at her that much yet. Have you?
I have looked at her. Honestly, the enhanced Ascension skill is fun. Yeah. I can see that.
So let's talk about that first. Let's actually start talking about the Ascension skill first. We can better understand what these other nodes are going to do. So this one's when the active skill is released. If you have 3 layers, apply 1 layer of Secret Veil, which is awesome, to yourself and the hero with the lowest HP, and recover HP equal to 1200% for 2 rounds. If you have 18 layers, I freaking hate the ones that are 18 layers. It's so many. Basically, like you might only get this happening 1 time in combat. Consume 18 layers of Ascension power and release Darkest Cloak on all allied heroes. I didn't see that. The target under the influence of Darkest Cloak has a 100% chance to dodge. So essentially, this gives them Sword Flash effect.
Yeah, exactly. That's basically Sword Flash effect, and she gives all of your heroes dodge. She gives all of your heroes a lot of dodge. Basically every single round when at least the active is released, and then you have the Sword Flash dodge for 3 rounds, basically, which is absolutely insane if your enemy does a lot of damage or has mean hits in general.
The only thing I'm wondering is if you have like Darkest Cloak on and you do a dodge, is it like Sword Flash's ability where it just disappears after you do it, or if like I wonder if the whole part of it being 3 rounds is it has 3 rounds for you to do it, otherwise you lose. That's
would
gonna
have
be
said
what we
that
have
it
to test.
triggers probably every round.
Yeah.
You can every round dodge one attack.
Okay. You think every round? Okay.
Yeah.
That'll
But
be
18
interesting.
rounds is of course an 18
Yeah,
ascending
18
powers.
layers is a lot.
Yeah.
So, this is actually not that bad. A lot of people see armor and they just kind of like pass it up. You guys don't. I mean, armor is one of the best damage reduction effects in the game. Like, I don't know if you guys notice. Like, most of the time when we're doing Sealand and we're just too squishy, we instantly change an imprint to 80% additional armor. All of a sudden, you're just not dying. It's absolutely amazing. So this is going to proc off of the 3 layers, which is really nice. It's also giving Secret Veil, so if you don't dodge something by her normal abilities, you have a lot more armor, so I think it's okay. This one's recover additional HP equal to 8% of max hero for the lowest hero. That seems like a very small heal. And then increases the holy damage of your back row, 10%. That's nothing.
10%.
That's nothing. That's
It's not too major. I mean, like we have holy damage buffs. Probably going to go with the first one.
Yeah, the armor just seems like it's too good to pass up, really.
35% is pretty decent.
Pretty solid.
I mean, like in PvP, while a lot of players now have like pretty high armor break, not all of them have 100%. I see a lot of people running 80% or 85%, something like this. And if you have a very high armor value at this point, you're still gaining max armor damage mitigation. So buffing that is perfectly fine.
Yeah, it's really, really good. So she's the first one that has different ones over here on the right side. So if you have 6 or more layers of flying power, ascended power, whatever, additionally increase the total damage caused by your back row heroes by 20%. That's not too bad because she's a support hero and she's supporting the damage of your damage dealers if they're in the back row. The middle one, same thing, but you restore your own HP. Same one here. 6 additionally increases your own speed by 100. Honestly, the first one's really good. I feel like this is what you want.
Increase the total damage cost. I mean, like we have to see what that really means. If that is all damage dealt, what they really mean with that. I think that got lost in translation. But I mean, why not? That's a huge damage increase.
Either way, she's a support hero. You're really not going to probably need her to heal too much or anything. Speed is going to be a niche meta. This is just going to be probably the go-to overall.
It's just way better than the other ones.
Left side again. So 6 is funny because she has stuff at 3 layers and 18, but her other abilities give her bonuses at 6 layers. And it doesn't consume it, it just happens. Additionally, reduces the attack of the enemy's back row by 20%. That could be pretty significant with Djen and stuff like that on your team also doing attack effects. If you have 6 or more layers, additionally reduces the total damage of 2 enemy heroes with the highest attack. Again, if this is lowering all damage dealt by 15%, that's pretty significant. And the last one is additionally reduce the speed of the enemy hero with the highest speed by 60. Middle one seems really strong.
Yeah, and the second and the third one also have a pretty good synergy with DGN.
Yep, yeah.
Because you will target the enemy with the highest attack to search for the debuffs that she's going to spread.
Yep. The only thing I've noticed with Djen is if the debuff isn't of the same percentage, it seems like she doesn't replicate. Like, so if you have like a couple stacks of the 50% and then you have like 20, it's only going to replicate one of the two. It's only going to hit like one of the two, which is really weird. But I mean, it makes sense because they show up as like the same number on the debuff bar, but behind the scenes, it seems like they're considered different stacks, so to speak.
It's hard to track that.
Yeah, it's really hard to track. But overall, overall her supporting is super supporty, which I like, and
yeah,
I think she's probably going to be one of the best supports.
I think that's one of the major parts, like to see if one of those heroes got good ascendant skills. If it fits the general theme of the hero, that's already a big plus point.
Yep, and that's something we haven't really experienced just yet. I think I want to see how this plays out down here. I think I'm like honestly comfortable like for the end game giving her like a 9 out of 10 as far as how good her skills are in this tree. What do you think?
I would have probably gone with like 7 to 8,
7
given
to 8.
that 18 layers is still insane.
That's still a lot, yeah.
I mean, we're not sure if we can we can run like an energy feed against void bosses, for example.
Yeah.
And then getting 18 layers. I mean, like if you just go for a basic skill and think that she never does an active skill, then she needs 6 rounds to get there.
Yeah.
And the active skill, if she does that, will make it even slower, because if you select basic skill, well, then her active skill won't give her any flying force, or ascension power is called here.
Which is honestly something, when I was reading her skills and everything, I was thinking, honestly, I don't even care if she gets the 3 layers one off. Like, yeah, it does give Secret Veil to use yourself and another ally with a heal. But I felt like most of her power came at like just the passive 6 mostly, which I feel like 6 is an easy one to get to. And a lot of them are just very easy to get like this. At 3 layers, you're just reducing the armor or something like that, or increasing your armor. It's really good support just passively. She doesn't even necessarily have to do an active or basic to be used.
Yeah, and one thing that I noticed with
Flexible.
this hero, though, she is in a kind of weird position. Like when you have her at the low upgrade level, and you first unlock those 6-layer buffs that you get here.
Yeah.
Well, you are kind of not getting there, because the normal transition skill that she have consumes 3
you're
layers.
right. Yep. So it
So if
almost
you
becomes
don't have the
useless.
upgraded, if you don't have the upgraded version, you will not really have 6 layers most of the time.
That's a really good point, because you're never going to get to 6 layers. You'd have to get all 6 in the. You literally have to, like, it only happens here. You get an active off, and then it clears.
She's kind of an all or nothing hero, which
actually, that kind
opinion,
of drops my opinion down a bit now that you say that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'd probably give her like a 6.
Kind of back. Yeah, that moves her kind of back. You wouldn't want to build her initially. You wouldn't want to build her as a second hero. You will build her when you can afford to max her instantly.
Yeah, like 5th or 6th or 7th or something like that. So
yeah.
Oh, that was disappointing. I kind of forgot about the whole part where the original transition skill consumes 3 layers to do the thing, and that means it's going to be really hard to getting up to 6.
Yeah. So I mean, like, considering that, she moves back in order, which I would say it drops her rating a little bit. She's amazing if you can max her.
But not early on. I think what I'm going to be doing is trying to make a list for people of like the priority order. Like these are these 3 to 4, like the top priority. If you have them on your team, one of them is going to be good. Overall, her power is very strong. But again, like you said, it's not something you're going to go for in the next year, I feel like. It's weird to say, but like, it's weird also because I'm really excited about finally having another power system that is an extremely long-term power system like Cloud Island. Like, I'm still just working on my 5th island. I still don't have a full team of full, and even then, the tenants aren't even full because we have so much power everywhere. It's like, I'm happy to have another system like this that we're just not gonna max day one and then crushed every piece of content.
I'm still low on Stella. Like for the Cloud Island stuff, I still need so much Stella, and I feel like I can never get enough.
I don't have spiritual essence at this point. I am tapped out.
Oh yeah. But that is another thing. That is something that we will desperately need in a bit. If you can beat those bosses, that's like going to drain that spiritual essence right away.
Yep. Okay, next up, my favorite, Doom Terminator Vulcan. So his main ability, again, this is one that takes 18 that I really hate, but I do like his 3 layers one. So at the end of every round, if you have 3 layers of Ascension power, increase the damage reduction of the heroes in the front row by 15%, increase the attack by 15% for 2 rounds, while the heroes get a 50% bonus of that buff. So essentially 7.5, it sounds like. That's interesting because that's literally buffing your entire team, just better for certain front row heroes. I like that personally because it feels like with this new game mode, that damage reduction might actually be very important to have. Then beyond that, if you do get up to 18 layers, consume them. I don't really like the 18 layers one anyway because he's already going to be like crit capped. He's already being crit damage capped. He's literally just getting 15% attack and damage. The one nice part is the 50 points of energy. That can really go crazy.
Yeah. I mean, like, when I first saw DTV, I kind of felt like they didn't give him buffs or didn't give him ascension skills that really fit him.
Yeah.
Because he was already so insanely powerful.
He was already so strong. Like, you can't give him more AoE. Like, if you give him more AoE, it'll just be ridiculous.
Imagine they said, like, okay, we give him 2000% attack damage, and then he can, he can burn now and poison and does some other stuff that would have been insane. This is reasonable.
It feels like 18 layers is too much for the effect you're getting. I know they don't want to go too low with it because 50 energy on top of him already being able to get 50 energy with his sublimations, like, he could almost get actives like every round probably or something crazy, but like half the stats here are just completely useless for him.
Yeah, that's
feels
pretty
bad.
true. He doesn't have the best skill, and
Nah.
well, it is not an insane skill. But then on the other hand, you have to consider he doesn't need it.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't need
need
the additional power. And honestly, I like the 3 layers effect. I think it's solid for what it is by itself. Honestly, the damage reduction I really like.
Some attack buffs, some decent buffs, easy to trigger, and I guess that's the best upside of it. It will trigger a lot.
Yep. Yeah, it'll trigger constantly.
Round. I'm a fan of the end of round 3 trigger, 3 layer stuff.
Yeah, they're really nice. Now the original one consumes the 3, but again, I don't mind that if I mean, because he should be getting at least 3 layers every round. Like that should be given. So you should be able to keep this up 100% of the time, plus all the other effects, which are going to include. So this is another one: increase the armor of front row heroes by 20% and block by 20%. It's interesting. Apply an additional shield equal to 1200% attack to front row heroes. This one I absolutely love. And then remove one negative. Who cares? So I really like the middle one personally.
I like them all, to be honest.
I
mean, like
it's just this one. It feels so good to be able to support your front row tanks that are keeping you alive.
It's an insane shield. The other one
himself.
is the other one is block. That is kind of meh.
Yeah.
And removing the negative effect, I mean that shouldn't be overlooked. Like we now have a lot of those, and some of those are really powerful. Like
do you think this
50%
means an
attack.
attribute effect, or do you think it means any type? Do you think?
That's worded like the purify that bosses have, so I guess it's anything.
Any type
like
of
CC.
Effect. That does make it better.
Yeah, I don't think it's really bad. Like one isn't a lot, but in the other way, if you have something important in the front row, yeah, it's quite of alright. I think it's alright.
Like
it's not bad.
You should be able to get like pretty close to every round, no matter which one you pick. This one might be a little iffy, but like you should have at least 3 layers every single round.
If you choose the basic skill, there will of course be a round where you do an active skill and don't get any flying power, but like other than that, I mean, most rounds you will trigger it.
Yeah, if you use the active one, you might not get it at the beginning of the first round, but like after that, you should be able to stay above 3 most of the time. Again, it's iffy. So this one's interesting. Increase self total damage reduction by 15%. Grant yourself a shield equal to 20% of max life. I love that one too. Speed. So I really like both of these because they kind of can fit however you need him. Both defensive.
20% of your max life is actually not a bad shield at all.
Again, yeah, especially because if it's Vulcan, if you're not using a Vulcan unless he's one of your main householders, like there's no reason to have a Vulcan that's not a main householder because he's going to be doing the most damage in most game modes for you. 20% is good, and again, like we were saying with the other hero, if this works with the fan, so basically at the end of every round, you're getting a 50% shield, that is disgusting.
That is not bad at all. Otherwise, you go for the total damage reduction. That is alright.
But if you think about it too, that gives you availability to use other artifacts and still get almost the fan effect.
For the shield, yeah, true.
Yeah, the shield.
You wouldn't get the all damage reduction that you have when you have the shield, though.
Yeah.
If you
but even this one, 15% damage reduction. We'll have to see if it's all damage reduction. It says total damage reduction, so I feel like that's probably all damage reduction, but we'll have to see what it translates to.
Well, it's good as well.
Yeah, really solid. And then top left, this is where you finally get some extra punch here. Deals an additional damage equal to 10% of target's max HP. To the front row enemies, up to 1500%. He gets a flat 1200% AoE attack, or he gets 800% additional damage to backline heroes with a 30% chance to apply freeze. So this gives him a lot of flexibility here. One, if you're just dealing like with something like where there is no front or back row, like it's a boss, this is going to do the most damage. If you want to hit a big AoE, so this is like single target, I feel like this is the best. AoE, this is the best. If you need to run like a heavy CC style team and you just want a little bit of extra or additional CC effects that might have to get purified, not that bad.
I'm thinking a little bit about elusive mirror at this point. Like if you have a full elusive mirror team, I mean those 30% might even hit sometimes.
Yeah, it might.
And then you have some CC on the enemies, which is nice. It's kind of a cool effect. I mean, all of them are good. And for what if you want to do some extra damage, okay, well maybe choose probably the second one, right? Yeah, I would go for the second one, just hitting all enemies.
Kind of like what I was saying here. I think this is a bigger hit, but it's only front row. So typically you're going to use that when it's just a boss, like a single target boss.
Yeah.
Whereas this is
and
just
then the last one
better
is fancy. I mean, probably
it's
wouldn't
utility,
use it.
but it's still damage.
It's still damage. I would use the last one for PvE probably.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if you run an elusive mirror team, I would go for PvP, though we haven't really seen an elusive mirror team yet, just because, well, I love elusive mirrors.
Yeah, which this is kind of another thing we said. This is like, I feel like the one positive with this hero is he does a little bit of everything. He gives himself a little bit more damage. He gives his team support or himself support. I personally really like his overall. Again, even at the beginning when he's consuming it, that's not a big deal either, because in reality, I don't even to me the 18 layers on him is just like a bonus active essentially with a little extra punch to it, which yeah, that's great, but like even at the low end, like not even getting up to here, just having this one here already gives you some stats and then triggers some really decent effects.
Strangely enough, I think this is the one hero that I saw where say like, okay, he has this 18 ascension power stuff, but that's like not the important one.
No, it's not, which is
it's like
actually nice.
It's nice, but it's weird
air.
In a way.
It is too, because again, like you said though, I think they did it like this because they already knew how strong he was and they didn't want to put him way out of reach compared to other heroes.
Yeah.
What would your ranking be for him?
I mean, it depends. Do we rank the entire hero or do we rank the ascension skills alone?
I think everything, the way I'm doing it is kind of like trying to put in my head how good the overall hero becomes with these effects.
I mean, it's still Vulcan and he now got buffs, so it's 9.
Yeah, I was going to say 9 out of 10. It would be too presumptuous to actually give him a 10 out of 10. I don't feel like it's 10 out of 10. The only way I would say is if he had a better, like, finishing transition skill at 18. But even then, it's 18 layers. You're hardly ever going to get to it. Although, if any hero can, he might be able to with a ton of actives that he gets.
Those are well-made buffs. I think that's the main point going for him. He didn't get damage skills. That's what is keeping him off from 10, in my opinion. Yeah. But, like, he got buffs and he got good buffs. Yeah. And I think that's like the point for it. That really keeps him going.
I think the big thing is the fact that he can essentially give, like, honestly, this 1200% attack is probably going to be like a 20% shield to some heroes on your team, potentially. Like, I guess it really depends on how much of a shield that actually does become. But the fact that he can give shields to 3 allies every single round seems pretty strong.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, in the end, in PvP, probably it's still weakness disclosure, and then suddenly heroes vanish. But, like, I think it's just an overall strong upgrade. Not necessarily the strongest one that they could have given him, but it's a very reasonable upgrade. Probably more than I would have expected, even for him, given that he's already such a strong hero.
It felt like the most well-rounded set of abilities overall.
It's pretty well-rounded, yeah.
It's just very well-rounded. Now, I'll be honest here, X, I have not even looked at Blood Tide Queen of Romania. Have you?
I have looked at Blood Tide. Blood Tide had me confused. I was waiting for a few better translations here because they wrote buff names in there and they are all...
Because, like, I immediately saw it was, like, dealing more damage. And I'm like, we can just stop. We can just skip this hero.
And she has a very interesting point, but I'm just not sure it is doing what I think it does because they didn't name the buffs like they called the buffs on the hero.
We've seen all these nodes. These are pretty much traditional. I feel like these are what they gave heroes that they just didn't know what to do with almost. And they they have a dot, so let's give them increased dot damage.
I would probably just start from the beginning and check it out. I mean, like,
this one feels like the worst effect on, like, so many heroes. The healing effect received is increased by 50%. Like,
yeah, it doesn't do too much.
This one, again, I guess this one was actually decent. That's a solid AoE heal. So that's like the one bonus. But again, these translations, I have no clue what's actually happening, really.
Yes, some of those, like those...
And like a petrification effect she can... I don't even know what this means.
I think, like, they are referring to the buffs that are already on her skills.
Gotcha.
She has, like kindling. She has, like, what's the other thing called? Oh, don't let
Oh,
me.
her actual
Scorching
abilities.
Curse.
Yeah.
I think the Curse of Burning Heart is the Scorching Curse, and there
Gotcha.
is one thing that I want to point out on this hero, and that's like the enhanced version of the main skill.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like there is a buff on there that says like, what is it? Abyssal Fire Seed Remnant, and that might be Black
Yeah.
Kindling. If she can inflict Black Kindling with this,
Mm-hmm.
this is actually a huge buff to her, because
Yeah,
that was
that's
one of her major weaknesses, that she
uh-huh.
couldn't put Black Kindling on heroes unless the hero with Black Kindling was killed.
Yeah, and that's a big percentage AoE heal too.
Yeah, I think she can be a lot better with those skills.
She can be, but to what point? I mean, I think that's the biggest one. The only downside is it's 15.
Yeah, but
That's a
the thing is,
lot.
I think we will have to wait for the
Yeah.
better translation here, because that's just on this
It's
hero.
just too
It's difficult.
confusing. I mean, honestly, for right now, I think I'm like giving it like a 2 out of 10, just because it's like I don't know how to evaluate. Yes, it does make her better if it works the way we think it does, but better than garbage. It really just depends, I guess. Because most of her effects too are like all damage oriented. It's like, I don't want her dealing damage. I want her giving support to her team, like Elena.
Yeah, support is really the thing for her, and that is the biggest part. And the main thing that I'm a bit worried about is like she needs 15 layers of ascension
It's a
power
lot.
to trigger the effect that
Yeah.
really makes it worth it.
And her base transition skill is just garbage. Like, it doesn't do anything useful.
Yeah, depends on what Curse of Burning Heart is in the end, but
that's true. Yeah.
but like, I mean, like when she's mostly about dealing damage here, I don't think she will be great. If we get a decent way of applying Black Kindling with it, I would have to revisit that and see. Like, maybe she will be 6, 7, maybe even then.
Yeah,
But
because
like that's just a shot in the dark right now.
it is. Yeah, I think for right now, I don't want to talk about her being too good and have someone accidentally kind of build her. So Lord of Death Azrael. Let's move on to him. His ability: when self is damaged, it happens all the time. If it has 5 layers or more of ascension, it will deal an extra 1200% of damage to 2 enemy heroes with lowest HP respectively. When he dies, it'll deal 2000 attack damage to all enemies. Once for every 5 layers, repeatedly released up to 4 times. So I guess that means he doesn't actually consume layers, is what I'm getting out of it on this one, and reduces the healing effect for the target by 100%. So essentially, you can do a ton of damage to them, and then they can't recover it.
Yeah, I don't see him consuming layers here. Yeah, that's true.
Well,
unless you don't have it upgraded.
Yeah, the basic
If you don't
version.
have it, basic version does again.
But
the thing that
this lets Azrael do more Azrael stuff, pretty much.
Yeah, the main thing I was worried about with him is like, well, he has to do basic skills or active skills to really gain flying power. Unless, of course, the third variant of flying power gaining triggers when he damages himself.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But does he lose his flying power when he dies?
Yeah, that's the next thing, is if it maintains, that's important.
Yeah, he was one where I looked at and thought like, that might just be entirely useless.
Yeah, honestly, he might be. I mean, because usually when I use him, I'm cheesing something, so I just use like melodic strings on him anyway. There's a good chance the first round, if you can get that first 6 layers right away, and then every time he revives, if the 6 layers keep stacking, this can actually get insane in some sort of cheese team with like Asmodel, him, revivable heroes, things like that. Because not only that, 15% more damage. I mean, that again lets Azrael do Azrael things, or of course, 8%.
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
inflict additional damage equal to 20% of the target's lost HP, which is an interesting one.
He might be good as long as he can keep those stacks, and as long as he can keep the flying power. If he can keep the flying power, well, then every time he revives, he has more flying power. And as you said, every time he kills himself with an active skill, well, that's even more. So he can stack up quite a lot.
That's going to be the test that we have to do. And I hope there's a way that we can visually see the stacks on the heroes and we're not flying blind. So his Sun Halo up here is very unique compared to every other hero. So first one, increased total damage caused by self. The second one is the most unique one you'll see in this spot. When self dies, deal 1200% attack damage to the enemy, or to enemy heroes whose health is below 50%, an additional 20% of their lost health.
That's huge.
That's amazing. Don't care.
That's really amazing.
That is very big because honestly, oh man, I don't think it'll matter like in round 1, but like after he revives the first time and then does it again, there's gonna be low target HP heroes on the enemy side.
He just
especially
got a lot of damage.
I mean, so here's the thing: this is gonna make him maybe even viable to do like Sealand 35. I don't know how far you've pushed an Azrael. I've seen it done up through 30 when it was 30 was the max.
I pushed it to 30 and then didn't progress yet.
Yeah,
I didn't try it yet.
I still have the Giant Killer one. I just don't want to fix my account for an Azrael push. Just not worth the rewards, you know. So that one's very unique, very big damage. And again, right here, apply additional 1200% bleeding damage for 3 rounds and a 50% chance to reduce the target's energy. Over here, deal additional damage equal to 3500% divided by the number of enemy heroes. We've only ever seen that on like EOS before, which is interesting. And additionally reduce the target's total damage reduction. I mean, again, 2 more things, 2 different ways. One does burst damage, the other one kind of just adds more layers of ticking damage to the enemy.
It's interesting. Like, looking at it, I mean, the middle one is interesting if you go for bosses.
Oh, yeah.
I saw that on Starlight as well, by the way. This dividing by the number of heroes in the enemy team.
Okay.
Yeah, she has it in the active skill.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yep.
Reduce the target's total damage reduction by 12% is something he also does with his basic skill when it's sublime. So that's kind of interesting. But then again, I mean, like, probably would go with the bleeding unless you're fighting, of course, some boss or something.
Yeah,
then
it does
3,500 is huge. That's a lot.
It's a big number. It really is, because it's not like it's usually big damaging numbers are like 1,500, 2,000. That's where they're capped at. Now, granted, if there's 6 alive, it's only going to hit what? Less than 7. Like what?
6 alive. That's like 500.
550, somewhere in that ballpark. Yeah. Which still isn't horrible. But
it is not horrible. It's not really a lot if you spread it over the whole team. I guess like in PvP, you would want to go with the first one just because there's oftentimes 6 enemies in the enemy team that survive for a pretty long time at the moment.
The only thing I'm wondering though about these effects is, you know, this part here, it only hits 2 enemy heroes, but then it does like a big AoE. I wonder how these are gonna work. I mean, this one obviously works. I guess maybe they're all AoE since that. I don't know. It's like a multifaceted hit.
I think the main thing he has going for him is that he has just a lot of damage. It just adds a lot of damage. Nearly every single skill adds to his damage. And I think that is something that will make it interesting because, in my opinion, for PvP, he lacked a little bit of damage. So right now, this might be pretty good. And obviously, as you said, like for Sealand, that's going to be a huge upgrade. Not really in terms of using him as your one and only carry hero, because he is killing himself.
You need something tanky to stay alive with him to make it work, which is the downside. Honestly, like, as if I was just grading his skill set, I'd probably give it a 10 out of 10. Like, this is probably one of the best boosting what a hero does tree. It's just he's so niche in his uses. It puts him at like a 6, I think, overall.
It's still Azrael. I think that's
still
the problem.
Azrael is the problem. But it does. He does so many cool things.
Yeah, we will have to test him a little bit.
Man.
I guess, like, if he can really put that damage out, punch through enemy heroes, even in PvP, I think he can be huge. But thinking about it, like, imagine this skill set, like this, not the self-killing stuff and when he dies stuff, but like a skill set of this kind on DTV.
Oh yeah,
like,
could you imagine all this extra damage?
Would be insane.
And then I'm also just sitting here thinking about this guy right here, his core as well. Even more damage. I used to run the cheese so much, but now it's like I just don't have room to run him on my account at all.
Yeah, I rarely run. He just went past me, I think.
Yeah.
But it's a great skill set. I would agree with the 6, maybe 7 if he performs well.
Mm-hmm.
He's not the first hero you will choose. Not the second one, maybe probably not even the first 6. But like, it's good. It's good. He got good upgrades.
This will be interesting though. I actually have been talking with someone who's making a main Azrael account, like their main carry hero. They even bought like an A+ hero for him to really go crazy. It's like a budget account essentially, and therefore they're going to try to make Azrael work. I'm interested to see how this works, if they can upgrade this too. I'd love to test it.
I'm interested to see Aspen Dungeon doing that.
That's interesting. Yeah.
He just kills himself outright, and then it's probably going to be a lot of progress there. But it is interesting to see what he can do. But he will always rely on a second hero that survives.
Yep. So he's not a solo hero at all. Even Sealand, you gotta have like a Jara up front that is ridiculously tanky.
Yeah, at least pull a crawl on that so that he has a chance to revive and come back. Yep. But yeah, he got good skills. We can leave him that.
So the next one, Star Swordsman Mockman. Everybody's like, oh, well, this tree system absolutely screws this hero over because you now have to get the last node. But let's be honest, it's not that big of an issue for him. Like, we're talking about a very minute strategy of us not going for this, because usually if you're using Star Swordsman Mockman, you need to win within the first, like, 1 or 2 rounds. If you're not, he's probably dead anyway. And the fact that he it's not because I just see everybody. I was even in like MK's chat the other day, and people were like, oh my god, this nerfs him so hard. I'm like, it's really not that big of a change. It's only a chance, and it's not going to change him that fast anyway. In reality, if you are in game modes, like if you're in a battle with him that is going very long rounds, this is actually better because it makes sure he does get back into his offensive form in those later rounds. Because I've noticed without it, a lot of times I go 15 rounds if I only have like 2 Transcendence heroes alive or something. He will fail to get back into his offensive stance in the late rounds. Whereas with it, like rounds 13, 14, 15, he's back going for his descending form.
I think one thing that people are a bit concerned with, and I think rightfully so, is like the boss damage. Like in terms of dealing damage to a Star Expedition boss, dealing damage to like Flame Shrine or something like that. It is general good to have him a long time in this offensive stance. And well, if you're lucky, he will be in this offensive stance in round 15. If you are not, of course, well, that's bad.
If you're not, this does help, but it's very like it's not one way or another. It just really depends on the battle and how he's transitioning, like literally.
Yeah, and I think like it's not that this hero is dead now. He will go to his defensive stance a bit more, but you gain like so much to compensate for it. You gain all of those stats, you gain all of those upgrades, you gain new skills. So like having him maybe 10 or 20% longer or more often in his defensive stance is a good trade-off for that, I feel like.
Yeah. So this is another one where it's very confusing.
Yeah. Definitely.
I'm going to assume Royal Star is his ascending form, which is his front row starting form, just because it has to do with receiving active and normal skills. That's a big assumption, but to me, that's what would logically make sense. You're in a spot you want to take hits. Royal Star is the same thing as Star Ascending. You know what?
Star Ascending to Descending is the usual one. That's also such weird translations.
Okay,
but yeah,
so I'm gonna go from English. I'm gonna try to go backwards with this, and I'm gonna put Royal Star style. Okay, make another one that I'm gonna do. Sorry, now it doesn't. Sometimes you can do these weird, like, you can try to pull up, like, the Chinese to English, and then you can go back the other way with it, and it can actually translate back into some weird language, but sadly, it did not. But yeah, if you have 6 or more layers, it will cause 2,000 attack damage to enemies in the front row. Again, it just sounds like his Star Ascending counterattack type ability, which is why I'm just doubling down that that's what it is. Oh my god, these windows are so buggy. This is the confusing part, because then it's a period, and then it's just % lasts until end of battle. I don't know what that means. I noticed that immediately. I'm like, end of sentence dot percentage sign. What? So yeah, and then if you have 6 layers above of Ascension Power, it will cause 1200 attack damage to all enemies. If you have oh, please screen stop. If you have 12 layers, it consumes them and additionally causes 1200% attack damage to enemy heroes in the back row, and there's 50% chance to add 1200%. I mean, I don't know how to rate this really just yet, just because I don't 100% understand what state it's talking about.
Well, 1200% is essentially like another active skill.
Yeah, I imagine Shattering Star style is his descending form, which is his yellow golden halo, his offensive form. Which again,
I
that's
mean, if
pretty
you look
good.
at that, that's like 12,000% attack damage, or 1,200% attack damage, and then you have 50% to do it again, and then you can do it up to 4 times. So that's exactly like his active skill, if you have him in the offensive form.
It's just weird that this. So here's the thing I'm wondering. And this could make it very strong. It says when you receive an active or basic attack. Does that mean this can proc multiple times since it's not consuming layers? I would assume so. And if that's the case, if you're in your offensive form and you receive an active or normal attack, you're doing your 1200% AoE.
The top skill is like the defensive form. I think it's like his counterattacks.
Yeah, do you
like
think... Well, no, what I was saying
same.
is, do you think this portion here before the comma applies to both portions? Because there's that, like, there's an and symbol here, essentially. So I like kind of I read it as when you receive an active or normal attack when in start, because like when you are, it's just, you know, basically chopping off here and continuing the sentence here in my head.
I would say everything before when in Shattering Star style is only happening as long as he is in the Royal Star style, so in the defensive form. And it's essentially like an additional counterattack.
But if you just truncate this though, what's triggering it? Is my question. It doesn't say if it's a basic, an active, end of round, beginning of round, nothing.
Yeah, I think it doesn't say that exactly, yeah.
Which is confusing.
It is very confusing. I think it is lost in translation indeed. Yeah. I would say it's probably like
it's like
the active skill. Wait, does it say something in the other thing?
Yeah.
Is there something in the basic version of skill when you're in a starting uniform?
Under attack.
It might just be whenever he gains enough layers. But we can't really tell. So that's a bit lost. But it is remarkably similar to his normal skills.
I
mean, if you look at it, you got the counter attacks with the 2000 attack, and then like if you are in the offensive stance, you got the entire active skill again.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful. So yeah, I mean, I would say this is probably, it maybe even pushes him above Vulcan at this point. If this triggers off of receiving attacks, that could just be disgusting. But again, we're not gonna. We just have to leave it at that for now. We don't really know. Let's take a look at his other abilities over here. 15% more damage, the typical 8% more, up to 1500%, or there's an additional 50% chance to inflict stun on the target. That's interesting, especially if you're hitting every target.
Yes, stun. I mean, on the counter attacks as well. Like, is this like HHA style counter attack on every?
But hitting everybody. Everybody. And again, this could be absolutely broken if in this form as well, every single time he hits, it procs.
The stun is pretty strong. I mean, if you just go for damage, you go for Ascension Comet skill, these 15% more damage, but the stun, that can be huge.
Because if it is off of every time you take it, and because like this, it automatically consumes it, so that's a non-issue. It's just the second you get hit, you counterattack, it consumes it. This is, again, much like Elena, where at the very end game, it might be very broken, overpowered, but in an early state, it's not going to be anything super powerful. Like the normal version here, yeah, you're just going to get like another active ability portion. Another tick, essentially, which is interesting.
But the thing is, like, if you just look at the normal version of the skill, that seems surprisingly weak.
Yeah.
The non-upgraded version, like when you're on active skill, okay, he consumes 6 layers of Ascension power, which will take him 2 basics to reach even.
Yep.
Or just 1 active skill. And then, okay, he just does 1 time 2000 attack damage.
Yeah. It's
Okay, and a little bit of maximum life. Good. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
damage, but man,
then
it's not really great.
It's not anything special, and he doesn't have anything special up here. He either has life steal, which actually might be relevant for him if he's like one of your few heroes you have, or more damage. Top left. Now this one gets wordy. No matter what stance you are in addition, you deal 1200% attack damage to front row heroes, an additional 8%. So
Okay, nice.
2 more hits. That's nice. This one here, very good. Just 2000 attack AoE. Again, if this can proc off of every single hit taken when he gets maxed out, that could be very powerful. And this one, again, no matter what stance you're in, additional 1600% attack damage to be dealt to the enemy back row heroes with a 50% chance for an additional 1200. So you have
Last one seems
a front row or a back row.
A back row of 4 heroes, front row or 2.
Yeah,
like, I think that makes it kind of easy.
Well,
for
I
me.
think my head, yeah. In that scenario, it's straightforward. What do you think about Boss? Because of course he is. Some people do make him work for Star Expedition. This one is a guaranteed 1200 and 1500. This one is 1600 with only a chance. So I feel like it's hard to pass up the guaranteed. That's what 27 versus 28, and the 28's only a 58% chance or 50% chance.
Yeah, on average, the first one will be better.
Yeah.
I mean, like the middle one. I mean, is it? Let me think about that. That's like 50%, so it's just 2,200 to 4 meters. Honestly, if you just go for the total damage dealt,
yeah,
it might just be the middle one.
The middle one for AoE scenarios. First one for single target. Third one, honestly, it depends. Because like you said, this is probably better on average because you're hitting 6 versus 4. Even though
I guess like if you think about it and you go for burst scenario, which he often does, then you probably would go for the third one.
Yeah, definitely.
And on a boss you would go for the first one, and then like if you just go for total damage, then it's the middle one. But I guess like you will never really go just for dealing 2000 damage. You will always prefer to target it in a way.
Yeah,
so I guess like
you want to pick what you're hitting.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and then the last thing to talk about is his regular version, because his regular version we understand pretty much. When you're in the ascending form, aka the blue form, you consume 6 layers, causing 2000 attack damage to the enemy front row heroes and an additional 10% of their max life. When you're in the offensive form, you consume it and hit for an additional 1200% to backline. Not all heroes backline, that's his kind of MO. That's solid just by default, I think.
Yeah, the thing that I'm a little bit worried by it is like, okay, we get 1,200% damage there.
Yeah.
Like in the non-upgraded version, it's not a whole lot.
No, it's not.
I mean, 1,200% one time for 6 layers. Yeah, it's alright for a non-upgraded version, but then you add up all the skills, and suddenly it becomes a lot, even before you reach the last stage. And in the last stage, it's just like you get another active skill.
But in reality, the one tricky thing is, it just depends on. It really depends on the game mode, because I mean, there's times that you might not get to a second active before you transition into the ascending form. You know. Yeah,
but I don't think his ascending form is really that bad anymore.
It's not.
And you get like
it's
stun
just front
on this,
row, which kind of sucks.
But if you have it fully upgraded, like
if
you have the fully upgraded skill, and then you have the stun, and you have the additional hits, and it triggers when you get hit, I would love to be in the defensive form, honestly. Because you get all of this stuff, you get all the extra hits to the backer with the 1,200% attack and everything.
Yep, definitely. There's a lot of extra hits that add up. I think by default, like his beginning skill, it's okay. It's nothing like to write home about. Like you said, there are a bunch of other damage effects that do add up. His 100% form, I think, has the potential to be extremely broken, depending on how this translates and works out too. Overall, though, he's one of the best AoE damage dealers, up there with Vulcan.
Great hero, got great skills, and I mean, like, The thing that really drives it a little
Man.
bit up on me is you don't really need a ton of layers.
It's
For
only
the Royal
6.
Star style, it's 6 layers. If you
Yep.
have an energy artifact, that's 1 active skill.
It's very easy to get to. It's just
Yeah.
harder to get to the second time on him. But again, you only care about. Well, here's the thing too. Like, you use your active ability round 1, you get your 6 layers. That means in the second round, even if you don't have another energy ability, you're going to be doing another round of burst damage on your basic attack turn if you get hit. That sounds pretty good.
Exactly.
It's supplementary damage to potentially pick off enemies your main active didn't kill. I don't know. What do you say? 8 out of 10? 9 out of 10?
Yeah, somewhere in that realm.
It's
Definitely.
tough. Honestly, I feel like giving it a 0.5. 8.5.
I'm not sure I want to rank him below Vulcan, though.
I know, that was the only thing that I was struggling with, because I'm like, Vulcan was, in my opinion, better overall, but it was close. And I guess
but
we
imagine
just have
they
to
put
now...
another active skill on Vulcan. Like they just said, okay, you get a second turn of your active skill, you trigger your active skill once, and it just goes again.
Yeah, 100%. 100% agree. Update is live, everybody's saying. I mean, we are literally halfway through the heroes too, so we might as well.
We took our time.
I like taking time with stuff like this. Sorry if I haven't been reading chat too much, guys, but I like having the conversation. I used to do this with June all the time too, where we just kind of like start talking and bouncing ideas off each other's head, because sometimes you don't think of a perspective too, which is always nice.
Yeah, it's fun.
Barry will always vote Vulcan higher than Mockman. The fact that I feel like you need more survivability in the newest game mode is kind of the reason why I give him the bump here, because you're not really living past too many rounds, you know? We'll see.
Nobody needs survivability when you have burst, though.
That's true, but you're not going to burst down these enemies.
Maybe you will. We will see.
Man,
maybe Mockman will be strong.
Oh, I saw that video of the SSS Vulcan, like, not even moving the HP bars on 1-10 boss. I was like, oh yeah, my god.
I saw the stats now of the 1-10 boss, and yeah, that makes sense. But also, it's Divine Power 6, so like they are now a lot stronger than us.
But after this event, we'll be able to close that gap a lot.
Hopefully.
We should be able to get, like, at least. Okay, let's take a look. The main event here is pretty much looking 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just making sure they didn't change anything on us here. Value packages still have the 60. Get 300 from there. Let's check out down here. Yep, still 61 here. Overall, Lunatic Asylum Nightmares, really good value if you're spending $100. Like, really good. You're getting literally $100 pack of sorry gems just tacked on for free. It's like a $300 pack for 100, which sure, cool, okay.
Pretty good.
We also have a $300 carnival, which I guess is worth it. Does this have mirror? It does.
Oh, it's a sublimation chest. I need that.
I'm actually good on sublimation at this point. I don't need any more. That's why I'm like, yeah, this has a mirror, and then treasure coupons are always good because you just use the regular ones this time, which is why I was saying save your coupons. So that's the thing I want to talk about first is Treasure Train. If we go into here and I show you the new one, they told me you can't use crystals. So let's make sure, yeah, you can't use crystals. So essentially your goal is to save up 150,000 crystals to use on this right here. And then your regular tickets are going to go here. Should we look and see what these are? These could be game breaking.
I'm pretty eager to see what the new series is actually.
They're not festival treasures?
Well, it's a normal series again, it seems.
Oh wait, no, it actually scrolls down now. Holy cow. So there's retro gaming. Oh Jesus. Okay, all damage dealt. Okay, we get this one automatically. Retro gaming, legendary terminal. MAME 5%. Wow. This is the second time we've been able to get MAME. And this is for Void Campaign and Campaign.
Ooh. That's nice. Void Campaign is also Void Bosses, I assume.
I'd imagine so, yeah. JC said he barely beat Boss 7. Imagine trying Boss 7 before you did all your upgrades, JC. The noob. But yeah, both of these very, very good. Very, very good. And the best part is regular Treasure Train tickets. So if you've been saving them up, 100 of them gives you a guaranteed chest, which is good. The other ones, control immunity with fixed HP, speed. Okay, I mean, we're never gonna outspeed it. I don't know why you're trying, game. Like, get out of here. I mean, fully upgraded is 151. Actually, that's something I didn't look at. All damage dealt 25.5, so that's still better than Easter, right? I think Easter was like 20%.
25.5 is good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Maim goes up to 25%. I like that. Speed, and then all the rest. Oh, actually, we have like a regular stats one, and then we have another one for damage reduction that goes up to 15.3%.
Not bad.
Attack, I mean, attack, this is so watered down now. Anytime that has like percentage attack, it's like almost another damage reduction in green. Wow, okay. 15, wait, that goes up to 15.3 as well. Holy cow.
I already kept us out on damage reduction.
I mean, it gives you more flexibility, I guess, but these are like green ones giving damage reduction. Block chance.
It's like the second series for Void campaign we get.
Wow. Skill damage. Oh my god. These are like not bad. 5% armor on a purple goes up to 25% additional armor. A lot. Okay. Yeah. These are good because that's actually part of this event down here. You can also buy these each 10 times. Keep that in mind. And yeah, 100 gets you this chest that you get to pick. I don't know, which one do you think is actually better, all damage dealt or more maim? Because we haven't gotten maim since the star spawn.
We have a lot of all damage dealt, right?
Yeah, we already have a lot, but we don't have a lot of maim. We only have what, 23.4%.
I'd probably go for maim, honestly.
This is interesting now though, because this is like, I kind of forgot the fact that maim does so much damage when the enemy gets low HP. It's essentially like the fire, but on the opposite spectrum.
I rerolled mine a lot actually and tried to get more there.
Yeah.
Just because I was using MFG a lot, and well, he's an assassin, so yeah, stat bonus as well.
Yeah, you get up to like almost 40%.
But like we don't really have a lot of sources, and you're absolutely right on that. And if you went and got like a lot of those festival treasures, when well you already have 2 treasures at least that give you all damage dealt, and then on top of that there is also one in the guild treasures. Yeah. I'm not sure if it's all of them. I'm not sure if there was one in the Void campaign once as well in the first series we had there. But yeah, so I would probably go for the maim. Yeah.
Yeah, because you could already get up to 20% and up to 25.5. So yeah, right now I'm already sitting at 17. I mean, I'm already at like 26% all damage dealt. So that's it's not a straight up 25% bonus to your team, because again, like you said, there's other forms of all damage dealt that we have too that are getting multiplied together, I'm sure. Okay.
Yeah, so I would use the main one, but in insane serious, really.
Yeah, really good. Even the lower quality ones actually very obtainable, and again, you can consume and do multiple loops of this. So I'll probably try to do like 200 to 300. I think, see what I can get.
Yeah, and even if you don't have tickets right now, those will be available later in the regular drops from crystals as well.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the one event we can actually do this right now. Oh wait, oh no, I got enough. So I want to jump on a different account real quick. I want to see. Supposedly it's like you're picking it every time. Do I have the gems here? I got some gems. I don't want to do it on the main account yet. I want to do that in a bit. So you're literally just hitting the button 40 different times. You have to first select which card you want, and essentially in this game mode here, depending on which card you get these rewards, and then if the card you get has a higher value than the other two, I believe you get triple the reward. So if we pick this one, turn it over, this is a 4, so that's a 2 and a 4. I think it has to be higher than the total. Choose any 3 cards. The point of the cards are 1 through 9. If the point turned over card is greater than the sum of the other 2, yeah, so this would have to be a 7. And then you can get triple rewards. And then, of course, it does show the chance, much higher chance to get the red card, as always.
It's kind of interesting that they put 3 chests in there with core fragments and all include different cores.
I know, right? That's really weird. Ooh, we might actually get a triple right here. Yep, so game broke. Awesome. We won, and by winning, you break the game. All right. Well, that about sums that
Oh,
up.
that's some premium stuff. That's nice.
Fun. Just trying to show it off, and it just goes, nah, I don't think so. And this is why I've actually got to the point where I do my like full event clears on like Fridays. I don't bother doing them at night anymore because I've run into like just too many issues.
Fun fact: they now included the good translations.
Really? Son of a biscuit. Damn it.
Now upgraded it. Transition power, it's now called, no longer flying power.
Okay, well, I have to go this real
they
quick.
did this dirt.
Wait. So they actually changed his ability then. Star Swordsman Mockman.
Did they?
Yeah,
Wait,
so when taking damage from attack, active, or basic when you're in Star Ascending, again, as defensive forms, if you have 6 or more layers, you do that frontline hit. If self has 12 or more layers, you consume those layers and you inflict damage up to 1500% attack, or equal up to 50% of the max HP, and increases self attack by 10%. Oh my god, these are like so different.
They are insanely different. Like even MFG is now when an ally's basic attack hits.
We just wasted so much time.
Yeah, that's like all wrong what we said.
All
they
different.
They changed everything.
Well, no,
Nice.
I mean, it looks like Vulcan is pretty much the same. It's just the ones that were confusing, it feels like.
Yeah, I'm just checking and seeing which ones of them are different, but that's like insane. Okay, like...
yeah, like Vulcan is pretty much identical. We just have to go over a couple heroes.
Seems the same as well.
Now we restart the whole stream.
Back to the beginning.
Man. And then, of course, this guy here, you go in the front one. Yeah, you just start investigating. Actually, here, let me do this real quick. Let me finish some... I want to get to like 10 flip cards real quick, so I can show people what's going on. Because supposedly the spoilers I saw from like some DH game stuff showed that they were getting the clue literally within like 4 attempts on a lot of them. Oh, please don't break again. Okay, thank God. Like, I don't care about getting stuff right now. Okay, that's fine. Yep. Let me do 2 more. Let's just test this out.
Don't break again.
I just want to finish the stream tonight. Oh God. Oh no. Son of a bitch. Freaking broke again.
Oh yeah, that seems fun. I'm going to wait for fix on that one.
Again, this is why I've stopped doing events at night. I used to do them like the second they come out, I just buy out the event. I'm like, nope. Half the time it doesn't work the way it's supposed to.
I'm usually asleep when they release it, so it's not. It's like a non-issue for me.
Okay, so let's see what we get for 10 investigations. We didn't get the clue. Okay, cool. I was hoping we'd get like really lucky off the bat. Oh, wait a minute. No, they changed it. Okay, they fixed it. Before it was on your 21st investigation, you'd get the guaranteed. They changed it to 20, which is smart because now free to play is guaranteed. Guaranteed. Where do I find these chests? Here we go. So now you're guaranteed to get to this with a full 8 times loop of profit orbs and 20,000 gems. You're guaranteed to get here. You'll probably get further though. Chances are you might also get sublimation. So this event just went from to like really good because they changed it to the 20th investigation instead of 21st. That's really, really good. That's really good. That just made this event from like RNG dependent to probably really solid. With honestly, I would guess there's probably going to be people that can get 12 clues free to play. I really do.
Yeah, that's really nice though. Like people really need those resources. I saw a lot of people complaining that they like don't have a noble core yet.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to go there,
get
that's pretty nice. It will be a good upgrade for them.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's really good for free to play because they have to start collecting these. I really wish they'd just up these to 100 at this. Whatever. Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, that's the event, guys. Anywho, let me get back to my main account real quick in case I want to check something. So let's go back real quick and recap these heroes. Elena, I don't think there's anything different. Or not Elena, sorry. Djen, I don't think there's anything different.
I'm looking through them at the same time. I just saw changes, I think, for MFG and SSM.
Oh, we should probably look at Bloodtide Queen Arania as well.
Yeah, so, Bloodtide Queen Arania, which is weird.
Reevaluate him.
Yeah.
Let's go back to your man G-ster. He is the honorary light hero because his skin is so badass. He looks like a hero. So, okay, extra damage, additional dot. Yeah, that's still the same. That's still the same. If additionally burns, yep, that's the same. Yep. They just cleaned it up. That's the same. So it's really just this part. So let's see this. When allies' basic attack successfully hits the target, 2 layers of damage to the target, 50% chance to reduce. That's actually not horrible.
Yeah, I think it's now a little bit better in terms of like maybe
base
PvP.
Version. Yeah, that's immediately where my mind went was PvP. What about the main upgraded version? When an ally's basic attack successfully hits the target, if you have 3 or more, deals 1000% attack damage to the target with a drain energy. Okay, that could be usable somehow, maybe. If self has 12 or more layers, consumes the layers and deals extra damage equal to 5,000%. But again,
I think it's better now than it was before, but it's like still basic attack.
So here's the thing, though. Instead of running Demon Bell feeds, you can probably run Mirror feeds very soon, and your allies will be doing basic attacks.
Well, yeah, every now and then, but like the thing is, would you really break a full energy feed to run G-ster when you can run LFA for boss damage?
Yeah, no. That actually kind of is better than him having to use basic. I will say that.
Yeah, that's true. And that's, I mean, like, that is able to trigger like 5 times around.
But
instead of just 1 time. That's obviously a huge buff in that sense.
But again, it feels like it's purely just for PvP at this point.
Yeah, it just
the PvE damage just feels weird.
It won't be viable for boss damage with this.
No, it won't, and that's really his only shining point, I feel like.
Yeah, and that's sad. I was hoping he could compete with like LFA, and I asked him if it was a mistake. And like,
Aspen's just gonna run away at this point. Aspen is just like, we haven't even gotten him yet, but he's just free running at this point. Okay, so I mean, we had him ranked at 2 out of 10. I feel like I'd give him a little bump up, but like,
yeah.
Not really. It's just not a desirable hero.
Did Ilamock
get any?
Nah, it was.
That looks the same.
I think it was MFG, BQA, and SSM.
Because the other heroes, it made sense. Vulcan.
Yeah, for the most part, the ones where we said like, okay, we can't really do anything, we can't really judge it. I don't think it changed.
Yeah.
Here it is different. Yeah.
Okay, so Black Kindling is her skill effect, right? Yeah, skill effect. When an enemy dies with it, 2 range goes get it. Scorching Curse is the one that deals the extra damage, right?
Yeah, Scorching Curse is the extra damage. And the last one is really weird. Black Kindling Ash.
Oh yeah,
it is Black Kindling. That is from her core usually.
Yeah, the Ash part is just from her core, and who has her? I mean, I guess you got your core if you're doing this. So this changes it to when an ally's when an ally's basic attack or active skill successfully hits a target, if self has 3 or more layers, deals 800% attack damage to 3 random enemies and inflicts Scorching Curse on them. Okay, 6 rounds.
Yeah.
Self has 15 layers or more, consumes them, and additionally inflicts Scorching Curse 6 rounds. And Black Ash can restores allies' HP. Interesting.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one.
It's just such a big question mark because we have so little experience. I don't know. Like, it's weird that it's doing damage, but then you're also too.
It is a bit complex as well. Like, this is the only hero that has like she applies the effect that her core needs to work.
Which I guess is
And
good because it makes it more usable.
yeah, the Ascension skills give her a higher core synergy, which is weird in that sense.
But I don't know if her core is actually going to be one.
I don't think a lot of people have the core. Like, I know Teddy is going to be excited about this. He's going to be like, "Oh my god, they made her!" And I think it is not as bad as it could be. Does it make her really endgame viable? And will she be? Nah, she's not your first hero to go there. She's not the second one. She's probably one of the last still.
Yeah, that's real.
And maybe a 3, maybe a 4, something like this.
Yeah. Okay. So let's reread Mockman's now. When taking damage from active skills or base attacks in the Star Ascending form, aka his defensive form, Self has 6 or more layers, he deals 2,000 attack damage to frontline enemies. If Self has 12 or more layers, he will consume them while again still in that defensive form, ascending. So much text on this one. Consumes the layers. And deals extra 1500% damage equal to 50% of their max HP and increases self-attack by 10% till the battle ends. That's interesting.
Nice.
Until the battle end effect. So then, when in Star Descending, instead, Self has 6 or more. Again, I'm pretty sure it's still a part of when taking damage from active or basic skills. If Self has 6 or more layers, deals damage to all enemies. If Self has 12 or more, consumes the 12 layers and deals 1200% attack damage to backline with a 50% chance to deal 1200%.
Yeah,
which
the
can be
trigger might
inflicted
still
up to
be
4
the
times.
taking damage. The trigger might still be the taking damage part. But I think that's still
so
good.
good though.
Yeah, that's good.
Like if you have a whole enemy team of like 6 heroes hitting you in round 2 after you already have these 6 layers from your active ability, that means if you're in your descending form, you're going to do 1200% attack damage to all enemies on top of let's see, another 1500%, and let's just say the 2000, so we're talking about a full 6 enemy team, so that's 3500 3500 plus another 1200, so 40. Oh my god. Jeez, so much damage every time he gets hit. Imagine if a whole 6 enemy team hits him every single time that round.
Yeah, that's insane. And then he has like the counter attacks and the stun chance,
and then a 50% chance to inflict more damage, which can be inflicted up to 4 times, just like his normal skill.
Yeah, like the first one is only against the front row, but like the front row is really going to suffer if then they get hit with like 12,000% attack damage because everyone hit him. So like,
well, yeah, I mean, if he's in his descending form, it hits everybody. It's not just front row. Or I mean, sorry, it's so. If he, I'm not talking about the bottom part. I'm just talking about the. Sorry, I didn't say that. If he's in his descending form, he gets his round 1 active. He does his big amount of damage. He then gets his 6 layers, and then the next round 2, he starts getting hit. If Self has, or actually not even that, it can happen that round too, because this isn't like an end of round effect. It's just when you have 6 or more layers and you get hit by an enemy, you deal 1200% damage to all enemies every single hit. But it's not just that 1200%, it's all those other damage modifiers, and like you said, the chance to stun as well to all targets.
Yeah, I think in the first variation we saw like a few minutes ago, I think it still said that it consumes the 6 layers.
Yep.
In Star Descending, but doesn't say that here anymore. So that's actually stronger even than what we read before.
His base form does consume it, so it'll only happen 1 time, but the fully upgraded version, I think, is probably the most overpowered ability we have probably seen.
Yeah, I think that's the strongest transition skill upgrade to the hero that we can get. And I mean, it's Mockman isn't like the most meta hero that we had. Still meta PvE hero, but like not in PvP, but still like it's a good hero. It's a very good hero.
It's definitely a solid 9 out of 10 at this point, but fully upgraded. Not fully up. Here's the thing. He's probably slightly better fully upgraded than Vulcan now, but until he's fully upgraded, I think Vulcan's better.
Yeah, I mean, like without the full upgrades, you just get some hits every now and then.
Yeah, the
And
fact
then
that
with
this doesn't consume is the
Mm.
huge selling point.
I think that's like on a lot of heroes though.
Yeah.
With the that they just don't consume it, that makes it huge in a way.
Yeah. Because this covers
yeah.
his biggest weakness is round 2. He does his round 1 active, you don't kill the target. Normally you say, well, looks like I restart the battle and see if I can win and kill the targets. This now lets them, most of the time you're going to be going second, so I'm not even going to consider the first round, but technically if he's the fastest hero on the battlefield, he'll start doing this immediately after using his active and getting hit. This is a lot of damage.
Yep.
A lot of damage, because this will help finish off in round 2 the enemies that didn't die to his active skill. This is actually insane.
With this amount of damage and this amount of hits, he might even be viable against the void bosses.
He might, yeah. You have some,
because it will not be a bad choice for that.
If you even just do this one, because like he does have those other abilities, but if we're talking about the void boss, there's 5 targets. You're gonna want to use the middle ability here, which is 2000 attack, and then you could go for the CC, but if you're going for straight damage, I mean that's 1500%. That's another 2000, so that's 3500, and then you're getting another 1200. That's 4700 every time he's hit to every enemy.
Yep. That's insane.
Yeah. So I think you know who the end game goal might be, but honestly, he's only damage really, with some crowd control support. Interesting. I don't know. Really interesting.
I mean, he was the burst hero before. He's now even burstier with even more damage. So I mean, I wouldn't have asked for more. No. It was like an S tier Mockman recently in the auction house and decided to not buy it. If I had bought that, I would be very happy now.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh man. But again, this is gonna take a long time for him to get to his overpowered state.
Yeah.
Right now, Vulcan, if you have both and you like Giant Killer both, I think upgrading your Vulcan to start is the better option. Because the other thing to remember, you can completely regress these trees at any time for just 10 soul symbols. Really awesome. You don't have to fully regress the hero.
Yeah, it is an interesting question in itself, by the way. For who do you go first if you just get the first upgrade? I mean, that's an entirely different question at this point, right? For the full tree, Mockman is insane.
Yeah. Yeah, they still didn't. I asked them, immediately once I saw this DH Games, you got to put like a 5 here or something, 5 soul symbols to get rid of the origin tree or something like that. Oh my god!
And then they should give you some soul symbols. That would be nice.
So yeah, he's extreme late game. He is going to be the ultimate AoE damage dealer. The downside is in the void bosses, there's now only 3 backline enemies instead of 4. That does lower his damage a little bit.
That's true, yeah.
But I mean, it's still, again, his normal state is just a small bonus because it consumes the lair. So it's just 1 additional hit compared to potentially 5 or 6. So very big difference. Okay. All right. We nerdgasmed over him. So yeah, let's see what they did with Freya, because Freya, now a damage dealer, I guess. Let's see. After releasing basic attack, okay, that's very interesting. If self owns 3 or more layers of transition power, inflicts Blossom Erosion on one enemy without Blossom Erosion, and deals 600% attack damage to the target. Afterward, deals 600% damage to all targets with Blossom Erosion. If self owns 15 layers or more, consumes those layers and deals extra damage equal to 90% of max HP, up to 5,000. That is a very big nuke potentially. But again, 18 layers, that's going to take a while to get to.
Yeah, and this Blossom Erosion had me confused, honestly, when I read that first, because like it was some weird other thing in the auto-translated stuff. But it seems to be like, well, it's not part of a base skill set,
No,
so it seems to be like a specific debuff that is just inflicted by this skill.
Yeah. And the fact that it only hits 1 target, but it looks like it's perpetual. It's not a certain number of rounds, which is a plus. For basic attack, we'll start applying it to multiple targets.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have it looks like it's a skill effect that just is on the target for the whole battle, which very big positive.
Yeah, I mean, like, once you reach those 18 layers, you're pretty likely to have the Blossom Erosion of the majority of the enemy
on everybody,
team.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you deal like 90% of max HP, which caps at 5,000, which hurts, of course.
Yeah,
But then again, I mean, like, you have this skill now on a hero that is intrinsically a support hero.
Yeah.
And another really weird thing is we usually saw like that the base version of these skills that is not upgraded persist through to the enhanced version, and then like the enhanced version just upgrades those skills. Like on the base version here, she reduces the damage reduction, which I don't see on the enhanced version anymore.
No, I don't.
So like that's interesting that you lose that part of the skill when you go to the enhanced version, and
Which
it
is
becomes
interesting
very
because
different.
as a support hero, this is a better effect. Reducing
Yeah,
the
you would be
target's
more-
damage
yeah.
reduction in the
You
game
would
modes
be
we
looking
use
at
her
that.
for.
Like that is interesting that for some game modes you might not even want to get the last upgrade. Like if you want to use that in Star Expedition, I probably wouldn't want that. But then again, it's after releasing basic attack. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, it's never going to trigger in Star Expedition. So yeah, kind of that for that.
Interesting. Okay, let's check out down here. Additionally increases all allies' crit chance and crit damage. Okay, that's not too bad. That's very supporty.
Yeah.
Deals the extra damage, has a 50% chance to twine the targets.
That's nice.
But again, early on, it's only going to hit one target. So, not very nice.
But with the upgraded version with Blossom Erosion, that's quite nice.
That's
honestly.
actually quite nice.
Yeah. Huge
The
twine, you
question
do
is-
90% damage on twine.
The question I imagine is how many she hits multiple targets with her basic, right? Yeah, 3 random enemies. I imagine this gets applied to all 3 enemies.
I would think the twine only gets applied to the heroes that get hit not by her basic but by her
Blossom
transition
Erosion.
skill.
Okay.
So the thing is really like this is dead for a lot of game modes. Like in Star Expedition, nothing you see there will ever trigger because she will always do an active skill.
Yep.
Or you will aim to her
Yeah,
always doing an active skill. So this is a PvP thing in that sense.
Yeah, this is weird. Additionally deals 1200% attack damage to Mirage Pollen enemies. Or this one's actually kind of nice for support. Additionally increases all allies' damage reduction by 20%.
That's nice, yeah.
And then yeah, she's got that 3200 divided by number of surviving enemies, 2200% to frontline enemies, or 1800% damage to one enemy with the highest attack, and reduces their all damage dealt. Support, not bad, not great.
Yeah,
confusing.
It's alright. It's good.
I
mean, like the overall skill set had me confused. I was looking
Yeah.
at this the first time and said, like, that's too much damage for this being Freya. And not like in a sense that this is OP in general, that Freya is not like a damage dealer hero that you would normally put a lot of attack on. So I doubt that people will take a lot of use out of that.
I think she still feels like middle of the pack support hero with a niche use of her sublimation, of her last pass.
Yeah.
I think that still is where she stands. She just gives additional small benefits at this point.
Yeah, and I mean, like, there are certainly game modes where you will see a basic skill. You will see it in PvP. You will see it in, like, I mean, imagine even against the Void bosses, considering we run crowns and stuff there.
Actually, yeah, you're right, because now, I mean, she's not going to use the basic, so none of these things actually happen in Star Expedition.
None of this happens in Star Expedition. None of this happens in Flame Shrine. None of this happens anywhere you run a full energy feed.
I think that makes her stock fall quite a bit.
Yeah, I would think so too.
Like honestly,
this is
it's a completely useless tree.
Not entirely. I mean, like, it's still, for some game mode, it's alright. You would still run her in a team against the Void bosses. You would still run her in Void campaign, and you can't guarantee there always being an active skill. But like, I think people were hoping for her to enhance Star Expedition
to get
damage
a lot. Yeah,
more.
exactly. I mean,
she doesn't do that.
I'd probably rank her just at like a 4 out of 10 now.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think I'd previously rank her as like a 6 out of 10 support, maybe 7 out of 10. But with this, it kind of sours my attitude.
Yeah, I think like from the skill upgrades, that's just not massive enough for her to matter. Like on basic skill stuff in general, it seemed rather weak when we had it. Like on the heroes that we have. We I just noticed that we rated like MFG badly for having this basic skill stuff. In general, you
Yep.
don't really want that.
I know,
It's just
right?
like you don't really want that in a lot of game
So
modes.
few game modes. The active skill is just such a big payoff.
Yeah.
All right.
So like, yeah.
Let's move on to Star Optimus Holmes Young. I haven't read his at all yet, so this is going to be a first time looking at it for me. When an ally releases an active skill, already starting out on a very good step here. If self owns 3 or more layers, poisons 3 random enemies, dealing 1200% attack damage. That's significant. For 3 rounds, it increases the dot the target take by 20%, capping at 5,000%. That's nice. Self has 12 or more, besides all the effects of owning 3. Oh, so this is an and statement. That's the first and statement we've seen so far. Besides all those effects of owning 3 or more the power, when you consume the 12, you increase self-attack by 50%, holy damage by 50%, and all damage reduction by 40%. And grants a shield equal to 50% of max HP.
That's quite massive.
That's pretty massive for 12 layers.
50% attack, 50 holy damage, 45 all damage reduction. That's a hell of a lot of stats.
Damage dealer in Flame Shrine? Holy cow, a dot damage dealer. Okay, let's take a look at his other skills now. 15% damage dealt, 8% standard. Additionally increases dot on targets by 20%. Okay, yes. This is actually... If we're talking about Flame Shrine, this will work. But again...
look, like dot increase here seems kind of the way to go, honestly.
Right?
It seems very fun. Honestly, also for PvP, like dot teams can be very good in PvP.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. This is really good too.
Synergy then.
Additionally deals damage equal to 8% of target's max HP to all poisoned enemies. They should be poisoned with him. And that's on his top right skill, which normally not a damaging skill. Interesting.
Yeah, and like a lot of enemies will be poisoned.
Yep.
That's like nearly guaranteed there.
Top left. Additionally increases the attack of one ally with the highest attack by 24. Additionally deals 3,000 attack damage to all enemies. What? 3,000?
That's a lot.
That doesn't have
like
a slash.
2,000 there usually.
Usually this has a 3,000 has a slash divided by the total remaining enemies, and then last removes one random debuff from self. Oh wait, hold on. I want to come right back to that. I want to go back to Vulcan because he had that his thing. One random debuff. Okay, so it just says debuff. So that's both.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
Interesting.
But debuff is like the same word. It's like, I think we were right on that then.
Yeah, it's anything essentially.
Yeah.
So this is a lot of damage. I never thought the day would come that I'd say he might be one of the best Flame Shrine heroes in the game.
Flame Shrine we'll have to see, but like definitely he will be insane for PvP. I remember the times when we first got him and he had like when we first got his core and the sublimations, and suddenly he was in PvP with like 2 carries or some stuff, and those team dominated for quite some time.
A lot.
And I remember this dot being very scary back then, but like with this amount of extra damage, with this amount of extra buffs, and I mean, like you can go for the 3,000 attack damage there, or just choose double purify. Double purify is also quite insane.
It's really insane.
And I think that might be one of the meta PvP heroes again pretty soon.
I could honestly, but again, you're gonna have to get up to the top because its regular one is whenever an ally releases an active, consumes 3 layers to poison 3 enemies for damage. That's not really anything super crazy. And honestly, PvP people aren't running dot removal either, which is or if this counts, like this might actually. No, that just straight up increases the dot on the target. Yeah, okay. And same with
I'm
this.
still not sure how this exactly works. Like what is the base for the cap?
PvP,
but what is the base for the cap? Is it like okay, they increased it, so when there's a dot of like 1,000 damage on the enemy and they increase it by 20%, and then that would basically be 200 more damage over time.
Yeah.
Is that what the 5k attack cap is applied to? The 200 that it is increased?
Which
that is like the question that's boring.
Which in that case, honestly, you might just want to go for the extra damage at that point, just for another big hit.
It's depending on what it is.
Yeah.
Like if it's if it aims at the complete dot for the 5,000% attack cap, then at one point it would stop doing anything.
Yep.
So that's like the thing that's worrying me here a bit. But it all depends on some attempts, some tries that we have to do a little bit of experiments. And I'm eager to see this. I saw that one guy on my friend list, he went for this. He upgraded Star Alchemist Tom Young, and he said he would send me the results. I'm very eager to see this because
Nice,
that seems strong.
I mean,
This seems
honestly,
strong.
this might actually be a G-ster PvP team as well. Like, it might be.
For PvP, I can definitely see
Like
that. That can be very scary.
A G-ster, Holmes, Young, and Freya team could actually be, like, kind of disgusting now.
Yeah.
Because they all get damage. And in PvP, G-ster's actually good because allies are using basic attacks.
Yeah.
That could be like one of the most powerful
synergy.
dot teams out there. They have so much synergy with each other too, especially because a lot of them want to deal damage to poison targets. They all poison targets.
You add Mystic Fairy Freya in there.
Yeah.
And you got like she does basic attacks. She loves to do basic attacks apparently.
Yep.
Now and
you have his core.
like that's a good team.
You have his core too, which is broken, overpowered, and lock
Yeah,
down the enemy Vulcan.
Core. Ooh, well.
Oh, I don't know how to rank him though, because like I feel like it's a really good ranking, but again, very late game, not early.
Very late game.
It's another one of those.
Very PvP.
Like honestly, PvP is probably a 10 out of 10 late game. Not right now, but late game. Jeez, there's so many
I can
questions.
See that.
I don't know what I'd give him an overall score though.
I can't see him in PvE.
No,
like,
I can't at all.
I would still see him as a supporter in PvE, even with all of those damage stats. If you consider that in, that's like that will lower the score a lot.
Yeah, like my first thing in my head just pops up like a 4 out of 10, just because it's gonna take so much time and investment to actually make him useful in only 2 real game modes.
It is difficult. Like he's not anything you will do right now, probably, unless the one friend that made this will send me some crazy screenshots. I would be surprised to see that though.
Oh, I can't wait to see a poison team. It reminds me of the old school Oberon armies beating. You probably didn't play back then, like back at like the 3rd anniversary, but like the meta was essentially you ran 4 Adas and 2 Asmodeels in PvP. That was like the ultimate team. And then came along Oberon and you ran 6 Oberon teams, or at least 3 Oberons, and you would just wipe the floor with the light teams. And light heroes were the shit back then. They were amazing god tier.
I played, but I was very weak, and I think CJ slayed me with like one of those teams.
Yeah, it was very niche, because the only downside of that, it was like me building the scary army. I'm gonna crush all the PvE boss damage and stuff, but I'm horrible everywhere else. Oberon crushed it there, and he couldn't even get the seal land done. It was bad.
Yeah, that's insane. Yeah, that was difficult. But like in terms of Star Alchemist Young for the rating, I really don't know. Like
I'm gonna give him like a 3 out of 10 right now.
I think that best reflects that that you really don't want to build him right now.
No, it's gonna be once you can already max 1 or 2 heroes, then he's probably like a 3rd fun PvP hero to pick.
I mean, eventually.
Yeah.
I think he's also not a tenant for a whole lot of heroes, right?
No,
I have to
not.
check that.
I don't think he's a good tenant at all.
Does he even have any heroes that he's a tenant for that you would want him? It's Starwing, Jara, Eos, and
I mean, the best
HHA.
one is HHA. If like I run him as a householder just for my team, but like not really required.
Yeah, I would say let's rate him with 3 out of 10, but just with the disclaimer that he's probably insane for PvP.
Yeah, as far I'm kind of more going on this list as like this is my mental priority list. The higher the rank, the higher the priority is. But I might make an end game one later in like a year's time. We'll make an end game list of the best of the best.
Yeah. But then definitely 3 out of 10, and then in a year we will probably build him because he will dominate the meta.
Yeah. Then again, by that time we're gonna have like 4 or 5 more Transcendence heroes. So. All right, let's take a look at Eos. Let's see. At the end of each round, consume. Oh no, wait. Her big ability actually consumes. Okay, consumes transition power and owned by self. For every 2 layers consumed, it deals 300% attack damage to all enemies and burns them for 8% of the target's max HP. For 6 rounds, that's a long dot actually, capping out at 1500%. So that's like what, 3 or 4 rounds in reality? 4 rounds, I guess.
Probably.
Yeah. This effect can be triggered up to 3 times. Afterward, reduces one random enemy's energy by 50. Cannot release the skill without enough layers. That's weird. So she uses an active, just for example, maybe in round 2. Round 3, or at the end of round 2, she does 900% attack damage to all enemies. Burns them for, I guess it burns them for 3 times. I don't know. That's weird.
It burns them like, I mean, like, how often?
I imagine it gives 3 stacks of the burn for 6 rounds.
I would say you can trigger it up to 3 times.
Yeah.
If she does an active skill, she will have 6 layers if you go for the active skill one.
Yep.
And then you have huge burns.
Interesting. Okay. All right. So
damage-wise, it's not bad.
It's not bad because it's spread out over 6 rounds, but okay.
But you have to read like the non-upgraded version of this. That's horrible.
Yeah. And
that's the same with all the burn.
Every 2 layers consumes that. Oh god, that's horrible. Okay, yeah. Let's see what else we can get. So Glowed Glory additionally deals 500% attack of armor ignoring damage to the targets.
Okay, yeah.
The typical 8%, or additionally burns the target, dealing 300%. So even more burn. That's interesting.
300% attack damage. It's like nothing.
But it can be triggered. It'll be triggered 3 times essentially. So that means,
hopefully.
That means you're basically doing what? 1800% times 3 every round. Get that out. But it's so small compared to what her main ability does.
Yeah, I think the main ability will be a lot stronger.
It's pretty much standard top rate self heal based on attack or all damage dealt. Last one, if the target's HP is no less than 50, additionally deals 600% attack damage to the target. That kind of sucks. She does have that 3000 AoE divided by the number of surviving enemies, or just gets 20%. What the
I would probably take the holy damage. But like the heal on Sun Halo is horrible.
Yeah.
750% attack HP.
Whereas other heroes literally get shields by 20% of their total HP.
Yeah, and if you have like 10 million attack, that's a 75 million heal on some, and some heroes have like 2 billion HP right now.
Yeah, I think this is very niche, and she doesn't really do anything for support, like, at all.
Yeah,
she's just.
I mean, like the damage over time is nice, and probably, let's be honest, we will see her together with like Star Alchemist Holmes Young in this damage over time team that we are going to see in like 1 year. She will sit next to him and deal insane burns, and that will.
There's a big if in there though. That's if she lives to actually get this off.
Yeah,
she should live a couple rounds to at least get the dot rolling. So,
but on the upside, we have to leave her that. It's not like she has like an effect with 18 ascension power, transition power needed, or something like that. That's just 6, and it can even trigger on 2.
Yeah, yep. It's not
so
bad.
That's very easy to trigger. I guess that also that's also part of the reason why it doesn't have like a huge fancy effect.
That's
but
true.
It is. I mean, for the amount of transition power you needed, it might even be good damage.
It might be good for PvP too. Like PvP is the big highlight here because, of course, even when she dies, she still has her normal engulfing sun, which does a decent amount of damage overall. And especially if she's at this state, she's probably having a lot of power on her anyway. I mean, there's a chance that, like, I'm just brewing in my head, like a Hyperspace Hunter Ilamok with your 3 poison dealers, which are, like a Freya for support, you got your Star Alchemist Holmes Young, you got your G-ster, and then you throw her in here, which is essentially like a suicide hero anyway. You get your active off in round 1 maybe, so that you guarantee to start rolling these 6 turns, 6 rounds worth of dots. Then she dies, she has her engulfing sun as well, and on top of that you throw Azrael in the team.
Yeah, like, I can definitely see that.
There's so much little ping damage.
she's not bad in that sense, but what she certainly has, she got some bad skills. Some of those
agreed.
upgrades are just not
bad.
good.
Yeah.
And that drags her down a little bit. And I think if you want to rate her by priority,
Very low.
maybe even below Starker Miss Thompson.
Yeah, I was about to say,
Like
I'm gonna
maybe
give her like a 2 out of 10, just because you just should not be awakening her tree here.
Which is sad. I was hoping that she
Yeah.
gets like a huge buff, because she rolled out of meta so long ago
Yep.
and didn't have a huge comeback.
And she has one of the coolest skins too. Her skin is so amazing looking.
And I like her. I really like her, honestly. She has pretty cool skills, but was weird in some ways. And yeah, no, I can't see her being used.
She's still just a tenant, pretty much, for my account. She's really good tenant.
Tenant. Where she's very good, actually.
Well, yeah, she's like one of the best.
Great tenant.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think you would build her right now.
All right.
Pretty girls.
I think it's time to potentially rank our first 10 out of 10. Let's see if anything's changed with him, though. Lord, if you're asking.
Yeah, we can see.
Lord, if you're asking, already the first 3 words after releasing active. Perfect.
Nice.
After releasing active skill, if self owns 12 or more layers, consumes them, and deals 1500% attack damage to all enemies with a 100% chance to inflict Fear Abyssal Gaze, and reduce the enemy's attack by 50%. So the downside here is it's going to happen, every 3rd round, essentially. Or no, so the first round you gain 6, second round you gain 6, third round you gain 6 and lose 12, so you're at 6. Then 4th round you're back to 12. So yeah, every 3rd round this is going to go off, right?
Yeah, which, I mean, in terms of boss damage, is not a whole lot of damage, but like if you are in against the Void boss, for example, reducing by another 50% is quite nice.
That's actually good survivability. But Star Expedition, that actually lines up perfectly to have this go off on round 15.
Which is nice.
That's perfect. Because you're
that's
getting
good.
6 layers
that's
every active, every single round. Unless you miss an active and then you're screwed. So you really don't want your energy feed to get messed up with your cause setup, okay. So that's the active. Very good. Every 3rd round, big bonus damage.
And also CC. I mean, that shouldn't be neglected. Like, you deal damage 2 times, and then there is also 100% chance to inflict Fear Abyssal Gaze, which is not a bad CC at all. It's pretty good CC, actually.
All enemies. All. It's not like it's sublimations that say all, but it really just means all in that row. It literally means all. Okay.
Well, we hope it. We
hope, actually.
The other one also says all.
All right. So right here, reduces target's energy by 20, whatever. You're going to use this one right here for additional 8%, aka another 15% or 1500% attack hit. I don't understand this one. I don't see where you would ever take the additional 1000 attack damage over 1500 unless you don't think you can do that 1500%.
In terms of boss damage, it's the middle one, clearly. Yeah,
it's like I guess PvP it might be better to do this. Because 8% in PvP might not be much. But most of the game modes you're going up against gigantic HP pools, and you're always going to hit your 1500% attack cap, which is just better than 1000%.
Yep.
So, okay, not bad. Top right, all damage dealt by 15%. Yup, we'll take that. That's clean and easy. Yep. Top left. This one's interesting. If the target's HP is no less than 50, additionally deals 1200%. So that means if you're in the 59 to 50% range, this is where this pops off, I feel like. Otherwise, you deal 800% to all enemies, and that's really the only 2 options.
I was already joking about this, so some LFA players in Star Expedition will now just wait for the moment where it's between like 59 and 50% to do their attack,
and gonna be
never
JC.
Do it anywhere else.
Which, granted, I mean, yeah, but like if you're using Defier's it's not like it's a huge difference. Defier, if you have a Giant Killer Defier copy, it is still decent. It's still better than, obviously, Fairy Queen Vessa now. To hit above it, but still, we still have that we still have that 70 to 59% dead zone that just nobody wants to hit.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But
I
actually,
think it
this
would have
does
been,
buff it because you will use this in the dead zone.
it would have been nice if yeah, it does buff that. That's true. It would have been nice for that, like if it was above 60%.
I know.
Just encourage players to hit there. But I guess you now have the selection. You can swap between those, so I guess it's not a big thing.
Yeah, it's
if you
just
see there's
flexibility.
a Star Expedition boss and it's like no less than 50%, maybe 59%, something like this, you switch to that, get some bonus damage.
Very
Nice.
easy. I like it. Yep. And then his basic transition skill after releasing active skills, if self owns 12%, you consume them and do 2,000. I mean, it's still really good. So instead of doing 2 times 1,500, so aka 3,000 plus holy damage effects, you just do 2,000. That is really strong, I feel like, just for a base ability.
Yeah, I think there is one thing that I noticed with this though. Like most heroes didn't have an ability that cost like 12 initially. They had like a small one that did something at 3.
Yep.
And then they had the big one that did something at 12 or 18 or something. He doesn't have like this small effect.
12.
Yeah.
But oddly
so that's
enough,
like a little disadvantage here.
In a way, it's a negative, but it fits perfectly in the one game mode. I feel like majority of the players just have like a thing for him, you know, like the Star Expedition. But again, with all these extra damage numbers, even with Djen getting nerfed, which it's not in the game yet, they said they're still trying to figure out what they're gonna do with her, I guess. But it doesn't matter. She doesn't break any other game mode. It's just the Osis buff that's game breaking. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna see people doing this extra 2,000 attack hit, plus probably an additional 1,500%, and maybe even this hit, the top left one, by next Star Expedition.
I mean, just looking at it, if players ever wanted something, then this is the buff they wanted, and those are the ascension skills they wanted. And there's like nearly nothing bad about it that you can say. And I think everybody will be happy to have those effects for Void Boss fights, for Star Expedition fights, heck, even for Flame Shrine fights. So this is honestly, it is great. That was like a little critique point, but I wouldn't say, is it perfect? That's the question. Like, is it 10 out of 10 perfect?
It's hard. For a new player, I'm ranking him the highest because it's probably the best bet for your account.
Fair.
I feel like overall, he is the easiest to power up as well. He has good tenants, which means your whole mid game goes pretty smooth. He's like one of the best Seal Land heroes. Like, just straight up, he's probably the best now, better than Vulcan, because Vulcan needs a lot more now to beat 35, whereas I feel like Aspen doesn't need as much, really.
Yeah, and he can actually do well against the bosses.
Yeah,
he can actually do well against the bosses because, like, there are two things. One thing, I just used my Aspen on the Amazon series actually to beat the first Void boss.
Yeah.
After I just cleared basically Void Island 1.
Oh, nice.
That works pretty well.
Yeah, it's a good synergy.
And the other thing is, those bosses have a surprisingly high amount of attack, we found out.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like it's a low amount of attack. Like, if you're looking at boss 10, Icar actually figured out that boss 10 has 50 million attack.
Only we could use ticks. I mean,
but he has the ticks effect. He has the
They solved the problem with their heroes now. They can give them insane amounts of high attack because ticks can't enter this game mode anymore, so they don't have to fear that happening. So yeah, maybe they're going back to their old formula of calculating the enemy stats.
Yeah, but don't forget, like, Aspen on his active skill steals 30% of attack from bosses, and the Void boss is a boss. So you can get 30% of that attack. Yeah, and this, I think, especially when we run into, like, that's boss 10 of 50.
Yeah.
I mean, what attack does boss 50 have?
Yeah.
Then stealing 30% of attack might actually be insane. So that's another point that speaks for Aspen.
He's stealing the attack, and every third round, he's also reducing their attack by another 50% when he's maxed out for 3 rounds, which is huge.
This will help survivability as well. Yeah, definitely.
So as his skills overall don't give support like other heroes, but The fact that his active actually lowers attack by 50%, again, put Djen on the team, that could get replicated. It might stick. That might give insane survivability to your team too. I mean, I'm just ranking him 10 out of 10. Like, he doesn't really have downsides. He doesn't really have downsides, I feel like.
Yeah, I think it is mostly, as you said, we want to share the list that shows when you should get this hero or which you should get first. And I think LFA is the best choice for the currently viable or currently relevant game modes. So I guess that's fair in that sense, definitely.
Yeah, and what someone said in chat too is like that 30% attack steals too. Like,
yep.
It'll definitely ramp down, I believe. Well, actually, I wonder how that works when they have attack debuffs on. Is it still 30% of the debuff attack?
I think it's the attack that the enemy has at the beginning of the fight, not the debuffed one.
That's pretty insane. 100 out of 10. Okay, yeah, he's amazing. Okay, let's talk about the discipline in the form of Fairy Queen Vesa, because, well,
yeah,
she supports. I'll say that she's got some really good supporting skills. That's not what we wanted from her, though. She went from one of the best damage dealers to now pretty much a full-on support. So active ability, or not active, transition skill is when self has 12 layers, so very much like Lord of Fear Aspen, just when you get 12 layers, it sounds like she instantly consumes them, not end of round, beginning of round, basically, it just consumes them instantly, removes one random debuff from all allies. That's pretty good, especially if you're using her core too. That could be a lot of debuff removal. Restore 800% of attack HP, that's a little low, and grants them a shield equal to 100% of that healing amount. Again, kind of low. Afterward, increases all allies' attack and armor, which is a pretty nice buff.
Yeah, like the buffs, attack 30%, armor 50% are good, but like the removing one debuff is comically bad when you think about that. They might just have a 2% attack debuff or something from SQH pings, and that will then get removed, and you use 12 layers of that. And the only thing more comically bad than this is the base version of the skill.
That's what I just pulled up. I was like, and what makes it worse is like, it's an 800% AoE heal. Like, it's garbage. Granted, it just happens immediately. There's no other trigger effects except she gets 12 layers, which is interesting.
And she doesn't need that. I mean, like, she's perfectly fine healing with her active and her basic. She does that very well already.
Yep. So let's take a look at her abilities here. So additionally increases all allies damage reduction by 12. Okay, that's a supporter roll there. Yeah. This one's garbage. Just increasing healed effect is just feels like it's useless. Maybe it'll become useful. I don't know. Or just increases all allies' energy. That's the one I really like. Energy basically has a demon bell just attached to her being in the battle. And then if you have more, that's cool. Granted, it's not every round. It's going to be like every third round in an energy feed setup, which kind of just means it's 20% skill damage.
Every second, actually, on her, because she triggers it instantly when she triggers instantly.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, that's not too bad then. It might mean that you can... Nah, I mean, going with only 4 Demon Bell with RNG is a little sketchy. But it does mean you could technically use 2 Antlers Cane heroes with this.
It is a very consistent energy feed. Like, there is no RNG to it. As long as she doesn't active skill 2 times,
you know what this actually unlocks kind of is maybe even more mirror usage too instead of Demon Bells.
Yeah, the only problem that you will have is that you will have 1 round with energy feed, 1 round without. That is a little bit sketchy if you go into a game mode like Star Expedition where you really want to do actives on every single round.
We need to find another ally or another hero that does this too. And then that solves the problem. Okay,
I guess
go ahead.
I guess you probably... I mean, it is probably one of the best ones for PvP, the energy feed. For PvE, like regular Void campaign and stuff, you would probably take that as well. The heal effect, I can only imagine for like PvP if you run against Ezreal teams, but that's oddly specific.
Yeah, it's very weird. Up the top, she gives herself all damage dealt, which that's kind of leaning away from needing that nowadays, since she's not going to be used for like Star Expedition and stuff. Granted, it could be good for like, Sea Lane and stuff. Additionally, increases all allies crit damage. Again, this is another hero we were talking about. We're already kind of hitting that crit damage cap, so it's not really necessary. Granted, it might open up a slot on an imprint or something like that. You never know. And then, of course, speed, so that's pretty standard. For less skill, additionally reduces the effect of being healed by one enemy with the lowest HP by 80%. That is a very significant amount of healing reduction. But with the amount of shielding we have in a lot of these game modes, I feel like their healing isn't as important.
Yeah, it's probably not going to impair the survivability enough. And still 20% of heal if the enemy runs like a homeowner Ferrocene Vessel still, which probably people will less do now. But if one guy does that, the 20% heal that still remain might just be enough. And then on top of that, you have already have increased heal effect from like star spawns. Pre-star spawn increases heal effect, so on top of that, that's might just not be enough to do anything.
So someone said, why don't I ever take into considering crit damage reduction? Because I'm pretty sure you're still just capped at 150% anyway. It's not like you can run 180% crit damage or crit damage, and if they have 30, I don't think that's how it works, right?
Crit damage reduction is a very weird stat, and the way it works, we did some testing with it, and it was very inconsistent when we tested it.
Okay, so we really don't know.
Wild stuff all along. Yeah, that's really the essential quintessence of it. We really don't know. Sadly, extra 100% chance to inflict silence gag aura on one enemy, on the enemy with 90 energy or above. On the enemy with 90 energy?
It is oddly specific.
But what do they mean with on the enemy?
Yes. Like, so does that mean if the whole enemy team has energy, does that mean it only picks one, or does that mean all enemies? It only says enemy, not enemies. If this said on all enemies, I think that would be kind of solid.
I think that's a bad translation.
I think so. If it's all enemies, that's actually a really good PvP talent right there.
Yeah.
Because it just automatically happens.
I like that.
I kind of like it.
Yeah, then you I think then you would just run her fast, take the speed node on the Sun Halo, go for the extra 100 speed, put a speed stone on her, and then she can do an active skill and bam, it's silence gag order on every enemy that could do an active skill.
And then if they do somehow kill something on your team, they just apply it again. But it's just oddly specific. It has to be on, like, it's not gonna silence the whole team. Maybe 2 to 3 heroes.
Yeah, but that can be enough. I mean, like, if you can delay a DTV active skill for another round,
that's
true. Can actually win you the game.
It really can.
So that's
actually really bad. Huge. And then the other ones, of course, additional HP equal to 1600% to the one ally with lowest HP, kind of garbage.
Yeah, that feels weak in comparison.
She already does that with her skill set. She doesn't need these types of things.
Yeah, I would go for the silence.
Honestly, like, she is a very niche use. Still valid. She's still a very good shielder and healer combination. It's just sad that heroes like HHA just completely overshadow her now, because he shields for like full HP bars, and then when the shield breaks, they get a heal anyway. So it's like,
yeah, and I think I personally replaced her her as a healer with SQH, because SQH with the sublimation can also heal the entire team, and then I just use an effect of being heal stone on her, and that pretty much does it. And I think we will still get to SQH, but I think her skills are pretty nice as a support.
Oh yeah.
So I think she will overshadow her in that aspect, and that's really the only aspect remaining after we saw insane damage dealers like LFA, like SSM, and even DTV. So I think she lost that role of being a competitor to LFA in Star Expedition.
She literally went from like the best hero in the game to, at this point, I don't think I even have her on my account anymore.
I just took the sublimation from her.
I think I have her, but she's just like a placeholder. Like, I'm not using it for anything. And at this point, I might just regress more Transcendence heroes if I end up needing the crystals of Transcendence for these Destiny transitions.
I think she's the best healer that we don't need.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like when your shields break, you're dead anyway.
Yeah.
In PvP, then you're super vulnerable, and the heal HP doesn't matter too much. You need some minor heal or some medium heal by SQH to protect you against damage over time or some stuff. Get your health a little bit back up, not instantly even, but at this point, I don't know. I don't know. I think it's just enough.
The Destiny transition on her thing. Like if you got her at like Origin 5, I think you're fine just
Yep.
which
Yep,
means
that's fair.
priority wise, I feel like you're probably in the Mystic Fairy Freya range of like a 4 out of 10 or something like that.
Yeah, that's all right. I think we still get like 30% attack for 3 rounds,
Yeah.
so that's something that's keeping her alive a little bit.
Mhm.
And there are some good effects that she still has, but I couldn't imagine putting her in my PvP team at the moment. Maybe she could actually find a spot in a Void Boss team just because she gives you 30% attack.
Well, I'll even say that the one thing I'm noticing is, at least on my team, I have tons of shielding, but I actually don't have healing to help recover my team back as much, so she might actually be usable. It might actually be something, but I feel like she doesn't, at this point, bring anything else to the Void Invasion bosses besides healing some heroes up to get 1 or 2 more rounds off. But again,
Yeah,
like
and
you
I think
said,
like
there's
the
other
damage
heroes
is
that
going
can
to
still
be
kind of fill that role.
yeah. And I mean, it depends on the Void Boss you're at, really.
True.
Like currently we are still on 6. I think probably some people will have now gone ahead and beat 7, 8, 9.
Mm-hmm.
But at one point the damage will be so high that will hit us into unbending will pretty much instantly.
Yep. Yeah.
So that's like the thing that it will be very scary. But at this point you will no longer need her.
Yeah,
If you are hit into
we're gonna
unbending
need
will
some divine
anyway.
power.
Yeah. You don't even like a good example for this is actually the expedition in Force War. I never take her in there to actually heal.
True.
I take her in there because she's very tanky because she's crit immune all
Yeah,
the
the
time.
crit immune for Penny and everything is like the biggest bonus for her.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, her heal doesn't matter there at all. So
Yeah.
none of those skills that she has there would matter in a game mode like this.
Yeah.
And I think this will be the same for Void bosses eventually.
Yeah. And it's also at that point like Lair Expedition for most of us isn't even a challenge unless you're going for the non-transcendence 1000 points, which I hear you might be trying that soon.
I tried it last time and didn't go very far. I think Ace went in there with the 4Cs and that was pretty successful, but there was like this, the problem is you also have to clear it in like 6 rounds.
Yeah.
So 6 rounds with no Transcendence here, even if you can survive, is crazy difficult. So I guess some more train buffs would help, and then it will still be difficult, I fear.
You need like the best non-transcendence heroes today, because I imagine in Lair Crusade too that they don't have very high attack values for like a Tix to come wreck house or anything.
No, I don't think so. Yeah. I think it's mostly about the holy damage, all damage dirt, and all of that stuff they get from the buffs. But like, yeah. Then again, you have to think how much is that in the end really worth?
It's just a fun game mode anyway.
Yeah, I think some people sat there and thought about, do I really want to do that? Do I want to go there and get like 3, 4 Cs or something, invest into that maybe 24,000 starry gems to then clear 1,000? And yeah, it's a flex, but I personally don't want to go for it.
Because even if you're going to do that, you're going to need like all A tiers at least, which means you're dropping 7,000 starry gems for every single A tier. And it's like, it could be a more useful hero that you upgrade to an S tier for those whales and stuff. And yeah, it is what it is. In my opinion, Lair Crusade's fun. Force War sucks. It's the most unbalanced thing ever. And let's move on to Starwing Jara, because I hate that game mode.
I like Starwing Jara.
Let's see. When self has 12 layers, okay, so just like Vesa, it just happens. Consume the 12 layers and deal 1500% attack damage to all enemies. That's decent. Reduces their control immunity by 20%. That's decent. But only for 1 round.
Yeah, which is probably like just for this hit.
Yep. So that basically means like she either has to be the fastest on the battlefield, or
I would assume it's just like she gains the stacks. I hope then the control immunity reduction happens, and then the hit, and then the petrify on block.
You can hope, but let's see.
Yeah, we won't know, but 30%, I hope that's the order.
Then it's only an additional 30% chance for. That's not.
Yeah, but that's not CC, that
though.
bad.
Yeah, it's more CC. Her regular ability consumes Oh, her regular one's actually kind of good. It has a 25% chance to just freeze or petrify, which is kind of nice because that's a different CC than her petrify, rock lock, and what's the other one called? Freeze cold chill.
Yeah, that's the normal version of
Hmm.
that, which is actually worse because the other one has extra effects and is counted as the same. Like Petrify and Petrify Rocklock are both counted as Petrify, but Petrify
Yeah,
Rocklock,
is not
one of them blocks energy regeneration and the other
yeah
one blocks HP
healing.
regeneration.
Yeah, freeze you can't heal.
Yeah, but it's good. Yeah, it's definitely good,
Still
and you
not
have to keep
bad
in
though if
mind.
you're just looking for more CC chances.
Yeah, and the sublimed version of her active skill only has 35% chance to CC. So if
Yeah,
you keep
yeah, that's
that in
true.
mind, then 30% is actually quite a lot because you have
Mhm.
things like Receptor that give you control precision and you scale
Yep.
that on her anyway. So
Yeah,
that's
I
actually a
mean,
decent chance to CC.
honestly, not if you're doing like a main Starwing Jar account and you're going through chapter 2, you've got 2, 5, 10 unlocks, you're starting to generate the resources for this, just passive idly. Might not be the worst idea if you're not running like an Aspen team. Because like I
Yeah.
said, this is useful. Just unlocking it and getting this is actually kind of useful. Let's see her
Yeah,
other
just if you
abilities.
unlock that, exactly. And I mean, if you want to upgrade the temple,
That's true
that's a
too.
decent choice.
Yep.
If you run Starving Jar anyway, you want to unlock the
Ooh.
temple, get this, be happy. It's good.
There's an extra 25% chance to freeze or petrify it down here too. So even on
Extra.
the basic, it gives you another 25% chance to freeze or petrify again.
How does that end up working? Like, if you have the upgraded version, can you inflict both of them? Like
Probably.
Petrify, Rocklock, and Petrify?
I imagine so.
Or is it like all three? Because like this doesn't say that doesn't have the
Ooh.
usual requirements of being a hero being like under 50% HP or something.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's just a flat chance.
And we have like three variants of CC on them. Yeah, I mean, you
That's
want to go
crazy.
for the CC route. That's what you
Yeah.
want. You want to do CC. So
She's not
then
there
let's
for
go with that.
damage. She does her damage by keeping the enemy locked down over and over.
Yeah,
Okay,
then go
that's
for the
good.
CC.
And then
That's nice,
bottom
yeah.
right is really perfect for her kit. Just another 8% control immunity reduction.
Yep. Nice.
That's good. Top right, probably control precision, 8%. That's another
Or
nice.
speed.
Yeah, or speed. Yeah, that's very true.
Or
Make sure
CC
you're
hero
staying.
speed is fine.
Huh? Then top
Two good ones.
left reduces energy of frontline, 1000 AoE, or additionally increases
Ooh.
self energy by 100. Wow.
Yeah, we take that. 100 energy. Thank you.
Wow. That's pretty strong.
Yeah, that was something where I said because that I like Starwing Jara. I looked at it, and all of it is this nice. There is nothing in there that I say like, okay, not really know what to choose here. Everything fits her kit. Everything
Yep.
enhances her nicely. You get a great CC hero out of that currently has no real place in PvP, I fear. Because of PDE, but I think I saw some teams doing early bursts and early CCs with Starring Jar, and that still works.
Oh yeah, it
so
does.
yeah,
I
you had a
guess.
super beefed up Starring Jar. What else do you want? That's the best CC hero in the game, easy.
And again, I feel like previously, like through chapter 2, Starving Jar is like still one of the best heroes you can have. Like she is a very good meta hero to use. Getting past 2, 5, 10 should be viable so that you can unlock the resources to generate this. You should be able to beat maybe 1 or 2 bosses to get a couple extra of the Aurora gems, but as a free-to-play standpoint, you're not going to be getting Aurora gems from events for quite a while. I can probably guarantee that. Those are not coming free-to-play for quite a while. Is it worth investing in her over a carry, like a Star Swordsman Mockman or something at this, is my question. I feel like with the additional power system, she'll be more usable through chapter 3 now.
That's very difficult.
It's hard to say,
I
though.
think I always notice that people kind of forget about her.
Yeah.
I noticed that like it's 568 or something, which is two HHA for Holmes Young, and people were struggling with it and said like, hey, there is no Holmes Young, there's no Sherlock in there. You can just see that with Starwing Jar and it will do nothing to you, given you have to survive round 1, but after that you're pretty much safe. And there were a lot of people that cleared it and showed me that Starwing Jar really did it for them. So yeah, Starwing Jar is great. But would I want to have her as a main carry? I think my problem with it would be like she's a bit vulnerable to some kinds of stages. With, for example, Sherlocks in there. And if you have multiple Sherlocks that reflect the CC back to you, that's a bit of a problem. And for those stages, Star Swordsman Mockman just doesn't have the same problems. He just works. He just forces himself through them.
Nino said in chat that she basically is usable up through 352 right now. So yeah, that's typically like the end of chapter 3 is when you transition over to either Vulcan or Star Swordsman Mockman. Usually Mockman, just because it's easy to build. And that's probably a Sherlock wave, right? Yeah, exactly. It's a Sherlock wave. So I don't think this additional power is really gonna. Well, it would definitely eat through cards faster.
Yeah, that's the point. That's what I want to say as well. If there are multiple CCs now, and she can like put an extra freeze there, maybe put an extra petrify, and then petrify rocklock, and then an additional petrify rocklock because she just did an active skill that just gave her the extra 6 layers of her transition power. Yeah, that will be insane.
Because honestly, I'm not like on Jara. I'm not even considering her full powered one because I don't think anybody really gonna need that. I think the fact that her basic transition skill has freeze and petrify is very interesting, especially since you can get freeze or petrify down here very early on. Like you can unlock it almost immediately to have another additional chance to freeze or petrify.
Yeah, and I mean, like the crazy thing for me that I was just thinking about is how easy it would be to have her do an active every single turn when you have her completely enhanced with those extra 100 energy. Because she does an active skill, gains her 12 layer, the skill triggers, you get instantly 100 energy again.
Yeah, she's basically guaranteed to get the most basic form of her active off every turn, pretty much.
Yeah, without anything else happens, which is quite fun.
Yeah. But again, that takes all the way up to this branch, which that's kind of stretching it, I feel like, for free to play to get up to here.
Yeah, that's
here is
true.
very easy to get to. I mean, that's literally the second node you unlock is the additional freeze and petrify.
Yeah, that's easy. Yeah, that's easy indeed. Yeah, people should be able to get there. I mean, assuming they have a noble core for Starving Jar and assuming they have the resources to upgrade her to 120.
A lot of people do have at least a basic core on her, so like going for her as your carry isn't a huge transition if we don't get a core swap event anytime soon.
Yeah, that's true.
Because pretty much everybody's got like a 1-star at least on her.
I think a lot of people went for the core pretty early on.
Yep.
At least in terms of the people that cleared campaign very early and then switched away from it. But I think now people went back and built her again because it is just a very good core. And I think her time in PvP will come again. She wasn't there for a long time now. But with Elusive Mirrors and all of the control immunity offset that we see there, I can even imagine her being in PvP.
Yeah, honestly, like thinking of this, so what's going through my mind now for ranking her is her versus Lord of Fear Aspen on an early game account.
You have much more experience there than I do.
I know. I feel like it's gonna sound weird, but I almost feel like she's a better option for first carry Transcendence hero to take up to this if you're already built. Yeah. Because usually you still build her with an Aspen.
I mean, one thing to consider also.
Nino said the freedom. Right? So wait, what do you say?
Multiple game modes is also something that you can consider, like Aspen Dungeon.
Yeah.
And it's like there are certainly stages where she doesn't perform well, but like Void Vortex, that was essentially first cleared by Starving Jar.
Yep. Yeah, especially with her broken core.
Yeah, and then Void Campaign, she's insane. Void Vortex, she's insane. Realm's Gate, she's insane.
Nino said essentially, usually for free to play players, you get to 2-5-6 with Lord of Fear Aspen, and then you switch away from him to a Starwing Jara team.
Yeah, that makes sense. Gives you some time to prepare some Demon core. Well.
I mean, I'll be honest, just looking at this, as far as like if I'm to rank them, it's gonna sound weird, but I actually feel like she's the 10 out of 10, and Lord of Fear Aspen is a 9 out of 10 at this point for first heroes to kind of level up. But with a very big note that this is just for free to play. If you are a spender, Lord of Fear Aspen is probably the better route.
I would really like to see her performance against Void bosses, honestly.
That's true. because she's not gonna be able.
Because
Well,
she might
she
be
can lock down
scary,
all
but-
the other enemies, but the thing is, they don't really do. Ooh, can they counterattack when they're?
The boss counterattacks.
But not the regular minions.
Uh,
So locking
the
them
minions
down
do that
would
stuff.
help.
In the minions, locking the minions down would help, but the thing is, the boss would still kill you. The good thing she has as well is she has attack steal on the basic attack,
That's
so you
true.
can make use of some of the boss attack to enhance your damage. But I'm not sure you will have enough damage to really kick the enemies down. And the big problem you will run into is, I mean, of course, if you can nuke like the stage, well, easy, no problem there. That's the same with every hero, though. The thing is, if you have to kill them like you kill enemies in Void Vortex, for example, by CCing them for 4, 5, 6, 7 rounds, you won't get to that point because at one point the boss will just hit you and you will be dead.
Too hard. Yeah.
So I think she doesn't probably not have the burst to go through there.
Yeah, the one nice thing is she does have, like you said, that 35 in the sublimation, 35% attack steal for 3 rounds. But again, that's only her basic, which she isn't gonna have too often.
But you can have it on like turn 1, then steal some attack, and then if you want to have a successful strategy, you're probably looking for that turn 2 kill or kill, at least doing a bunch of damage on turn 2. So like there you will have advantage of the big attack.
Man,
so that's definitely a plus point.
A little side bonus for your dot meme team, kind of PvP team you were talking about. Forgot her deep sublimation on her last branch, and the other one, when the enemies are frozen or petrified, she also puts a poison or bleed on those targets.
Yeah, that's actually huge damage. That's actually huge damage. That's one of the things that really punches through Unbending Will.
Those
if you build the team with her. You have that on that's the entire 4th passive, by the way. You get bleed, you get frozen, but the 4th passive is like any time an enemy is frozen, you get 1200% attack damage to all frozen enemies, and the same for like petrified. So you have that skill as well. So that's a big enhancement on that, definitely. So I don't think she's bad. I think she's quite insane on that.
It's just the void boss,
like,
I feel like, is where she suffers. And of course, like Steel Land and Aspen Dungeon.
And I beat that pretty early now. Like I had 1 million attack. Of course, it's a GK LFA, but like if you can go to 8 million attack, and you were talking about 3-5, you can probably have that attack by that point. Then you can already beat the Void boss, and that will give you a huge bunch of resources as well. It will be a big boost. So I'm not sure if you necessarily want to build Starving Jar before LFA, but I guess there are a lot of people out there that know way more about early game and mid game routes than I do.
Yeah, same here.
That probably will know better. I just want to say, let's consider those Void bosses as well, and put that into consideration.
Yeah, because in reality, free to play, your goal is to get through Void boss like 2 and 3. 1 shouldn't be too bad at the point that you're having Jar and everything. 2 and 3 is the difficult part right now. But again, you'll slowly get Divine Power, and they'll become easier as well.
Yeah, and she will be Starving Jar will be a good upgrade. Like if you just unlock her, you maybe get to 1 or 2 more heroes. You get Divine Power. That will be nice. And having her and her skill by your side and in your team, that will definitely make it easier to progress. So I think she's very good, and she should be probably in a lot of players' teams, at least if you're not in like super end game and just only fighting those bosses. If you're only fighting those bosses, I'm not sure she will be that great for team. I think you're looking for bigger damage dealers. I think then you're looking more in the direction of Star Swordsman Mockman for what we saw there, and LFA for all that attack skill and stuff.
Cordova said boss 2 free to play for me doesn't seem possible yet. You have a very chunky Star Swordsman Mockman. Yeah, I mean, the problem is you need to get the first 2 bosses down to basically unlock your destiny transition for a hero. So that's like your first goal, is to get the second boss down. I've seen it done, but it's difficult. The first boss is very easy for most people that have like 3 to 4 Transcendence heroes, which is very early game. Okay.
Yeah, if you can do that early on, that will definitely be a big boost.
Yeah.
I'll have to see. I'm not sure how well that will work. I did it with 2 Transcendence heroes on that. A Mockman just to tank, and then LFA, which was an A A plus LFA.
Yeah,
So
just
a bit
crushing
insane,
it.
but yeah, he did it pretty well. He did it pretty consistently as
Okay.
well. I just attacked it another time and cleared it again, so that worked out. But in the end, so what's the rating for Starringer? What do you say?
I put her at a 9 and a 10 for that point of the game.
Yeah,
She's
can agree
just
with
so
that.
good at what she does, and this just makes her even better. Probably
Can
makes her
definitely agree
last
with that.
longer.
Yeah, and it would do way more damage as well as CCing way more. She just has a very round kit. It's a very well-made kit. It's a kit that you would expect for a hero like that, and you like to see for a hero like that.
She doesn't have a single wasted node is the big point.
Yep.
Everything is either control precision, control immunity offset, more CC, more energy. It's a perfect kit for her. Like as far as kits go, I'd say it's almost a more perfect kit than Lord of Aspen because of how easy it is to get off.
Yeah, I think it's one of the most perfect kits we've seen. I like Star Swordsman Mockman as well. That seemed pretty perfect as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's insane.
Well,
that's
Star
insane.
Swordsman Mockman, very, very good end. I think his base transition skill is still so bland and not great. But his other nodes do give him more power, which is cool. So, all right, let's take a look at Asmodel. So again, a lot of these old heroes just have when self gets 12 layers, you consume them and deals 2000% attack damage all enemies twice. So that's one of the biggest AoEs we've seen in the game, and increases damage reduction of all allies by 20% for 3 rounds and block for 50. The block's a little wasted because we're pretty much capped out, but if we do come across things that have precision, artificial precision, which I think Void Campaign does. So I don't know if the bosses actually have precision too then. The buffs that he gives is amazing. 20% all damage, and just happens.
Yeah, we have some precision on Void Campaign as well.
I figured the Void Invasion bosses would also have that like 30 or 40% precision or whatever that they have. So this block isn't bad because getting to like 150% or block probably isn't the worst idea.
It's not bad in that sense. It's not overwhelmingly good.
The 20% damage reduction is solid.
20% damage reduction is quite decent. I would like to see all damage reduction. I mean, those buffs are really... They are okay. I think 50% block is not a small amount.
No, but...
we take that. So...
it's good in
so
PvP if the enemies are running precision. 60% precision on top of that and everything.
Gives you an extra chance to block. I think HHA... helps a lot with dealing with precision and block. If you have him on your team, it reduces enemy stats in that sense, and then your own stats are pretty much at the point where they should be. And I think it's also block is like a thing that we have a lot of now with treasure as well. But I wouldn't say those are bad buffs. No, in no sense. I'm not overly excited by them.
No.
But I say it's all right. It fits his kit. It's a little bit of a survivability
and
on top.
You got to say it's one of the biggest hit abilities. It's 2000 twice, which also gets benefits from holy damage and stuff. So that's a
pretty big hit.
And even the base transition skill is not that bad. 1500% to 4 random enemies twice, which I mean you're basically taking 2 enemies off, but okay. Again, for void invasion bosses, that's not bad. There's only 5 enemies. And then increases damage reduction of 4 random allies by 15%. Again, not all damage reduction, but still solid.
Yeah, that's still solid. That's really not a bad skill at all. Like, you can use that, and it will work pretty well from the get-go. You don't really have to go to the last node. It's not like PDE where you look at it and say like, no, it's just good.
Yeah, it's really good. So let's take a look at his skills now. So the first one additionally increases all frontline allies armor by 20% and block by 20. Okay, that's not bad if you're running it for support. This one I really like. Additionally grants shield equals 1200% attack for all frontline allies. This is why I was like, him plus like Doom Terminator Vulcan giving shields to frontline heroes, especially if they're both the frontline heroes, is a lot of shielding.
Yeah, that's true.
And then the last one, again, removes debuff from all frontline allies, which is...
I mean, you can use both. Either you get like the free Purify that you get here. You can even put him in the front row to get it himself. Or you use like the shield, which is also quite nice.
And honestly,
so
I've been using his core more often in certain scenarios too. That all damage reduction, basically, or you're lowering the enemy's all damage dealt, or I forget which one it is, but for every mark that you have on them is kind of strong. Pretty good survivability core.
Yeah. I think it's quite fun. I just thought about that a little bit. It grants you 70% block essentially if you take the first one.
Yep, it's a
So
lot.
much.
And armor, so it's like it's super defensive. Top right, you can either do all damage dealt, a heal, or speed. So probably gonna do like all damage dealt most of the time because that heal's not gonna be. I mean, it's bad with this. The self heal here is better than Vessa's, but okay. Anyway,
yeah, that's true.
Over here is he's got one that actually goes up to 10% of the max, but it's only for frontline enemies. First one. The second one,
1500.
yeah, it's still really good if there's only one line of enemies. This one's 1000 to everybody. Again, that's just like an additional hit. And then the last one
also saw 2000 to all enemies, right?
What was that?
I think we also saw 2000 against all enemies on Summer Heroes, right?
Yeah, we did. I think
so
because
that's a little bit less.
Yeah, I think it's because this one already hits for so much. It would be literally a third hit, which would be crazy.
Yeah.
And then the last one additionally deals 1600% against backline. So this is the best one if there's only one line, because yeah, why would you not take this one if there's only one line of enemies versus
Yeah, and the bosses in the backline, if you use them against void bosses, you probably want to kill that guy.
I mean, I personally overall like his kit. Again, it's a very flexible support and damage. It made me feel like I was looking at Doom Terminator Vulcan's kit again almost.
Did we look at bottom right?
Bottom right. Oh, we didn't. Additionally increases the attack of one ally with the highest attack by 12. Additionally increases the frontline allies control immunity. That's actually, even though it's 9%, there's a lot of times where that is huge. And the last one, additionally increases all backline allies energy. That's one thing I really liked about him. I'm glad you told me to look at this because this was one of my favorite skills that I saw.
It's again energy feat. It's quite interesting. We saw that on, I think the Gjen was as well.
Yep. Yes, hers was for everybody, I think.
So that's quite fun.
Yeah, so he's got a lot of flexibility to his kit, which again, like, here's the problem I'm running into in my account. I want him to be a homeowner, but he's just such a good tenant for my Vulcan. Like, well, actually, for my Vulcan and my DGN, it's like I feel like Aspen is going to be my third, because my goal, I think, is to run Vulcan and DGN as my first two, but that plays out. I don't know. I
want to try him a little bit.
I really want to as well. And now that I know there's a reset button, I think I might be more willing. The problem is then I have to build another Asmodel to be a tenant, and I'm running out of tenants.
Yeah, I need the core. That's the main point for me.
I got it, which is that's another incentive for me to do it right now. The only downside is if I do that, that probably means I'm not using Lord of Fear Aspen right now, which means the only way I'm getting power is if I get rid of my my Star Swordsman Mockman.
Honestly, I think Lord of Fear Aspen is the most sensible decision. It's like the better decision overall. Though I have to say, also historical ATD has been a very great damage dealer. It is a format where he can excel. It's like 5 enemies on the board. So there are a lot of possibilities for him and the allies with like the glorious support getting hit, giving him the stacks. You can combine him with like an Astral to upgrade his stats as well. And I think the theme of like having one huge active skill hitting the enemies can work as well. And you can get to the 12 layers in Star Expedition against the Void bosses, so that works as well. And it's like extra damage for him. It's not bad at all. It's quite good. It's not quite SSM level, I would say, of Ascension skill buffs of damage. That's just not what it is. But it's decent. I mean, in terms of rating him, not bad at all.
I know, I'm really struggling.
I think we haven't populated 7 a lot.
Yeah, I was gonna say 7 out of 10 sounds like almost perfect for him, because like 8 is too good, 6 just sounds way too bad. Yeah,
that brings him, the 7 brings him like a category of heroes.
Which is interesting because like literally his transition skill is gonna hit like pretty much harder than his active ability.
Does it?
Yeah, even if you just take like this down here, you do like 2 hits of 1500 plus like another 1000, just say.
I guess the main thing is the revenge stacks,
Yeah,
because you
it just
can
depends on
really
how many
put a lot
times he
of
got
revenge
hit.
stacks on it.
Yeah, it really just depends on how often he gets hit.
Yeah, and that's like the thing, we have the opportunity here to just stack up revenge quite a lot. Just let him do a basic attack on turn 1, and then on turn 2 you will already be hit by 10 enemies or something. So that option is definitely there. So I can see him clear the void bosses for quite a bit. I can see him being very effective there. But from like looking at the other heroes, from looking at SSM, from looking at LFA,
Yeah.
I would definitely say those are
They're
above
just
him, and
yeah,
the
they're better.
rating has to reflect that.
Uh-huh. Yeah, the one thing I will say is I've really enjoyed using his core when he's like fully household and sublime and everything, because every time your ally attacks, he does that extra 400% damage.
Hmm?
But also, it's been very nice getting 16% all damage dealt, or all damage dealt reduction on your team as well.
Yeah, that's pretty good. The core is really not bad at all.
It
Also, the
isn't.
holy damage on top of that, and then
Uh-huh.
you of course have liberation, so
Yeah.
you can get even higher buffs there. Um, so I like
Yeah.
that's not bad at all. If you really want to use this core, that's another question.
Yeah.
But
It's an investment.
it's also not quite a bad core if you want to
No, it's
use him in
very
kind of a support
flexible.
way.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah, and you
flexible.
have this passive too as well that gives all the team all damage dealt. So
Yep.
that's really nice as well.
No, I definitely agree. So I like him overall. I think he's good. Now, I haven't actually
Yeah,
looked at Scarlet Queen Halora's either. She's
I
one
like
I
Scarlet
didn't
Queen a
even
lot.
think. So let's look at her base one first. Again,
Yeah,
when she gets 12 layers, consumes it. Increase the attack of all allies by 10% for 2 rounds and restores their HP. I mean, that HP restoration is pretty strong. It's not
yeah, and
800% of attack, it's just 25% of HP.
yeah, that's a very
That's
decent restoration. You
that's
get
really
some
good.
attack on top of that. That's absolutely decent. If you put her as a supporter, you just unlock that. You get
Uh-huh.
like some tenant buffs out of her. She's a
Yeah,
tenant for a lot of relevant heroes,
that's really
and then
good.
you just buff the attack on all of your heroes.
And then the big one here consumes a 12, increases attack by 10 for 2 rounds, restores 50% of max HP of the hero. Besides that, increases their all damage dealt by 10% and all damage reduction by 20. That's really solid.
Yep, and Queen's Guard I like all allies.
Okay, I like that part of it. Let's go down here. Additionally, increases all allies damage reduction by 12%. That's solid. Effective
Yep.
being healed. Off. Here it is. Additionally, increases all allies energy by 20. Another hero.
Yeah, another hero, just some
Yep.
energy feed in there if you want that.
Yep.
You
That or
can go
damage
for the
reduction.
heal effect if you just want to use her, or
That's
effect of being
true.
healed if you just want to use SQH as healer.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice as well.
Yeah, this is
Probably,
where
I
it
mean,
actually comes in because she could actually benefit from the.
yep. And I mean, you are pretty versatile there. All of those effects are pretty
Yeah.
decent.
Yep.
And I mean, just activating that skill, uh, you just get get all of that all damage reduction. You can get all even more damage reduction on
Yep.
top of that. So that's pretty nice,
Yeah, she's
honestly.
very flexible so far. Increases
Yeah.
backline allies attack. Increases all allies armor by 20. That's again more defense stats and reduces all enemy speed. Okay. Yeah, that's decent. Gives some flexibility whether you want more attack or more armor for your team.
Yep, it's another buff
Top right, that one's kind of useless for
or debuff.
her. That's surprisingly stronger than Fairy Queen Vesa again.
Yep. Self all damage that you probably don't
Okay.
want that.
Yeah,
But an
that's
additional restoration, why
yeah,
not
that I mean,
1200% of attack?
like you said, she doubles as a healer, so running this down here with this, and on top of that,
And you
giving yourselves more armor too, that's all very
or
good
if you could being it,
survivability.
yeah.
Top left, last one. Additionally reduces enemies crit damage by 20.
Fits
Maybe.
with her basic, she
Yep.
does that there as well.
Yep. Additionally deals damage to all enemies one time and bleeds them. Really what you need her for. Maybe good for like sealing. Last line increases
And
all allies damage reduction by another 20%. Wow.
which is fun because you can take that at the bottom node for
So
12%,
20
and then for another
plus
one, then you have
12
32% already.
plus 20% armor plus a heal plus 20% all damage dealt reduction. Wow. Yeah. And a 50%. Okay, yeah. He's your new healer. But
Yeah, and she
again,
just provides a lot more. She's just very convessor in way better.
yep. So priority wise, not like super important just yet. Like honestly, just unlocking her down to like here is there like a really cool effect for her. Maybe even
I
down to
think
here.
I think once you're thinking about getting upgrades for the Divine Temple and which
Yep.
origin hero to choose, she might be great to just not be your first damage dealer, but
No,
to
but
be your second or third
yeah,
origin
second or
hero.
third definitely because you're gonna need a supporter to keep you going. I mean, I like
Yeah,
her kit. I'd honestly give her like an 8 out of 10.
yeah, I like
I
her
think
too.
she's up
She's
there with
just great.
Djen. Honestly, at this
You,
point, I might lower Djen's down to like 7. Because like Scarlet Queen just fits the 8 so much better.
we have to see about DG and like if she
Yeah.
can really debuff the enemy attack and
Uh-huh.
that can stick in a way that can be nice.
Then you don't need healing. Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
she's really solid. I like it.
yeah, and she's early on very solid.
And
Like
she's a hero
I
you
think PDE
never
was
get rid
better,
of.
Nino said,
Yep, you
but
never
like
not use this hero.
no, no, that's exactly. Neo said I think PDE was better. The thing is, and that's the main difference. You can get Scarlet Queen Allure, you can upgrade her, and if you have your first node, she's fine. If you have an upgrade for her, and any single upgrade, she just gets better. While PDE just really relies on getting that last upgrade,
Yep,
which pulled her
agreed.
down a lot.
Nino says you think PDE is actually better. She's like good support, but she doesn't do everything that DGN and like I think if you had her full transition skill, yeah, you're probably right. But when you're just talking about like the base version, I think both of their base versions, and that's what's important about support. You're probably not going straight. You're not going to be getting this top one for a very long time. For a support hero to be ranked high, I think their base transition skill has to be good. Oh, you meant DGN. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Because PDE kind of she's solid. She's got the dodging and everything, but the dodge is gonna not do much for you. At least right now, I think in like void Asian bosses. I don't know. Okay, Sword Flash. Last but not least, we're on what, like 4 hours? Feels like it 3 hours. Okay, so
yeah, 3 hours.
Sword Flash. She's my hope that she might make a comeback here. And reading her skills, they sounded offensive, but I don't know how possible this is. It's a lot of extra damage. So her main transition skill, after releasing an active or basic attack, for every 2 layers that she has, releases 600% attack damage on one random enemy. That's the downside, is it's a random enemy and not lowest HP enemy. This effect can be triggered up to 6 times if you have 12 layers, which I don't know how you're going to get 12 layers without it lower.
Yeah, we didn't see a lot of transition.
Oh wait, no,
power
it doesn't.
feed
It doesn't consume for the 2 layers. Oh, okay. You can get up to 10. Interesting. So essentially, she can have up to like, let's just say she has 10. That means she can do that 600% 5 times, but it doesn't consume.
Yep.
Okay.
The base version consumes the transition power.
Okay. And
but
then
not the enhanced version.
Consumes them, initiates 3 attacks. So it's basically another active, but it's on all enemies. Wow.
Yep.
That's a lot of damage.
That's a lot of damage. That's right. I mean, like, it's not the Sublime version that the Sublime version has another hit, but like this is still pretty decent. Still a lot of damage.
Yeah, but that's not just so. The base one is okay. This is where you're gonna get like 3. You're never gonna get like higher unless she's CC'd, and no, because even if she's CC'd, her next basic
the base version
is gonna consume
not
it.
worth
So
it.
yeah, this is weird. But again, if you're building Sword Flash, you're not. I don't think building her for early state. She's not really used anymore. It's just in hopes that maybe she's like a Star Expedition killer or something like that.
I don't think so. I
think
mean,
she's
like
good enough.
her only place where she's really still viable and can do stuff is like PvP, together with the Drake to punch through those super defensive sustain teams.
Yeah.
That's like the last place where I really see her, unless you're really talking about like early mid game void campaign stuff, but where we just have better options, I think.
Because basically she works the same as Lord Fear Aspen every 3rd round. If you were to use her in Star Expedition, that's when she'd get the big hit. But in the meantime, she would get multiple other hits the other 2 rounds, which is good. Okay, down here, let's see some damage. 15% damage dealt. Get out of here. Okay, she has 1 more additional hit of 1500. Or 600 armor ignoring. Oh man, you'd have to really math that out.
The thing is, I'm not even opposing using this 15% transition skill damage buff just because
That's
a
true.
transition skill does a lot of damage.
Yeah.
I mean, like getting 15% extra there. There are hits in there with 1200% attack damage.
Yeah, because what's 15 off of this? That's 2600 essentially. I mean, yeah, potentially. It depends on what else there is because it has to equal up to at least 600 more damage for this to be a better
Yeah, and I mean,
hit.
like you do that multiple times. You do
Yeah.
those 600% attack damage. Like if you reach 12
Yeah.
layers, you do that like 6 times.
Yeah. Bottom right increases target's attack, armor, whatever. Top right additionally increases all damage dealt by 15. That's pretty solid.
It's nice.
Especially if you don't have treasure train. That's really good.
Yeah.
Restores
Restore self
HP speed.
HP. I
Now
don't see
that's
that.
really good. And then the last one additionally deals 1400% attack damage to one enemy with lowest HP and inflicts 1000 attack damage. That's really good.
Yep.
That's really weird how they work. I mean, that's really good because it's lowest HP. AoE 1200%. That's really good. Self gains 3 layers of impeccable flow.
3 layers?
That gives her a lot more survivability. No. Impeccable flow is
No,
one
3
that,
layers.
yeah, that's the one. That's the one that boosts the damage to the AoE. That's interesting.
3 layers?
3 layers every 3 rounds. Essentially. That's
so basically every single active skill of her has impeccable flow. Every single time she does anything.
Actually, you're right.
Like
yeah, because it goes off. I forgot about that part. It goes off in the meantime. I'm thinking Lord of Pharasma is only every 3rd round. No, that happens every single round after the first.
Do they mean that like that? That seems like a bit insane for that to happen every single round to get 3 layers of impeccable flow.
So she basically permanently has impeccable flow. That's pretty freaking nuts.
But I don't get why she get 3 layers. Like she can only do 1 skill in between, and those only consume 1 layer of impeccable flow at best.
The only thing I'm scared about then is if like these types of abilities only happen when they're consumed and not just when. That's
what I was thinking as well. Like if that's only triggering on the big effect, but it's not described there at all.
It's not, but this is the first skill that makes me question so much about what we just talked about. Like even like Vulcan, like if none of those things go off for Vulcan unless he uses the big 18, then it's like the most useless hero ever.
Yeah.
That kind of scares me. That really scares me at this point.
It will have to test a lot of that. But that's like, I mean, we're talking about theory here. We're talking about what we think from reading the skills and with our experience in the gameplay, those heroes are going to do. And in the end, we don't know what the coding is. So that's like the thing. But I guess even if it is the 12 transition energy
that's still 100% uptime that after the
it's still 100% uptime for impeccable flow. I would say that's by far the best. If you want to rely on her damage, like if you want to have her as the killer of the hero, is that even the case? I mean, like if you want to just want her to kill heroes with defense down, then you're probably fine not having impeccable flow, right?
Yeah, that's so much AoE damage though. That like every active, so much.
Yeah, the thing is, I mean, it depends on what you do. If you want her for PvE, AoE damage is nice. If you want her for PvP to kill somebody that has defense down from a Drake, then you don't need AoE at all. It's just like the number of hits and the damage you inflict with that single hero to kill it.
It's not just AoE though. It's an additional hit, right? No, it's not.
I mean, the impeccable flow is insane. Like, I remember the time when you used to try to get a kill with SFX in Void Vortex. The first time
you have to get it in round 1, so round 2 you can feed energy and wipe out the whole wave.
Yeah, so impeccable flow in that sense that was massive, and I think
Yeah.
it still is. So in that sense, having 3 layers of impeccable flow for 100% uptime of impeccable flow, basically forever, is very nice. It's very, very nice. I'm not sure if it's safe for PvP because just read in chat that this might be the comeback of her. I'm not sure if that's enough actually, because
I
if
don't
she
think so.
can't get through like the shields that we have right now, which will grow even more.
The problem is you have to put
I
Drake
don't
on your
know.
team, and Drake's going to become much weaker as time goes on because he's not going to be getting all these extra buffs.
Yeah, that is also, by the way, another perspective of all of this. People were talking about it with sublimations, and it's even more the case now with Ascendancy. We bring the distance between Transcendence heroes and normal heroes a little bit further apart.
Yeah.
Like the use a Transcendence hero can now have, if you have all of those upgrades, is even higher than it was before compared to a normal hero.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And we're already at the point where only select heroes with very specialized abilities can keep up. I'm not sure if it will be the case again, if there will be the case when we still use a Drake, when we still use like maybe a Panda or something. I honestly, they might roll out. We have to see how that works.
This is interesting though. Like she has so many extra hits now too that
Mhm.
like really makes me wonder if she's a viable option for Star Expedition as well. Because even like every round, she's going to be hitting the boss multiple times for 600% attack damage, even
Yeah, but
before
the
she gets
thing
to
is,
12.
a viable option in the sense of if she's all right, probably. I mean, she was like
Yeah.
all right when we first started with the game, what she did all right.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, we have other heroes that got even more insane upgrades.
Yeah,
So
that's
like if
true.
you wanna go for the best, you go with LFA.
Yeah, the
If you
only
wanna
thing I could
go
see is like her maybe surpassing Fairy Queen Vesta and G-ster at this point. She got very good damage
you just
buffs.
hurt me there.
I mean, you
my,
heard his
my
skill.
boy G
You
stuff.
you read what his
Yeah.
skill says.
Yeah,
It
I read
says
what his skill said, but it hurts
basic
my soul.
attacks. Anything that says basic attacks is essentially useless.
It hurts my soul to see that again.
um,
Put that thing away.
I want to give her like a 5 out of 10 right now, just because you probably
Yeah.
shouldn't, but it's not horrible.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
really isn't, because she does get a decent amount of damage buffs before she gets crazy high up here. And then if you do get her to impeccable flow, I mean, I don't think she'd be viable for Void campaign just because it's going to take to the third round to start impeccable flowing.
I think there are like 3 heroes
That's too
now, or
long.
4 even, that are better than her.
Yeah.
But I will be very interested in seeing if anybody built her and makes a video or
Oh,
something
somebody
to
should.
see how she does. Probably Aika will. She has like
Yeah.
SSS, SFX, and I will be very eager to see that.
Yeah, I have a lot of people on that I know on my friends list that are on Discord that build meme teams dedicated to non-traditional Transcendence heroes and stuff. So this will be really interesting to see if they can get to the
Yeah.
point where they can upgrade them.
Yeah, I'm very eager to see that as well. I guess she will do quite well.
Yeah, I mean, this event, these don't have my up here. Have a mirror? I really want to just get every mirror possible right now, just so I can try to build a full mirror. See how it works out. So this one, okay. Not gonna pass up cores at this point. Okay, so we can get 10 divine down here. I don't think it's gonna be worth going for the scattered spirit vein this early on. I think later on it's probably gonna be a good option.
That's difficult.
Hard
That's
to tell
very
right
difficult.
now.
Because we need like both of them.
Yeah.
Then again, I was initially thinking about it, said like, okay, well, obviously the blue stuff, but
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure
Yeah,
if that's
I'm gonna
really the
hold
case.
off on 24 for now and
Yeah.
see, because 10 more will basically what I should be able to get through. I actually struggled because I didn't have my account set up properly, so I wasn't able to kill boss 6 yesterday. So I imagine I could probably get 6, 7, 8 today, which is 10, probably like 30. Let's just say 30,000 more, which is what 30,000 more is 6 more of these, and right now I need 7 here. It went from 5 to 7, so the next one I guess would be 9, and then you're stuck, right? I think it's the 3rd tier right now.
I'm not sure. I don't really know the upgrade cost yet.
Yeah, you can only get your 3rd tier. Get more. So you can get the temple level up to 4. Ugh. Which means you need 3 origin just to get it up to level 2. Oh, my head.
Yeah, it's a lot to think about.
I don't know if I want to get 3 heroes to Origin 1 first, and that way, but like it's not like you're getting any divine power at level 2. But maybe then you only need like, God, if you're gonna need 3 core heroes to get up to level 3, rough.
Yeah, I still have to upgrade my first one actually. Didn't even do that yet. Because I was going for MFG and then decided that I don't want that. And now my first hero that enhance onto Origin will probably be SQH.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is a bit weird in that sense.
JC's doing some crazy damage.
It's alright. It's alright. I guess SQH is kind of fine for that.
So JC's saying we're actually going to run out of... Are you saying we're going to run out of the yellow resource very quick?
Yeah, I think a friend of mine actually calculated it and said that we will run out of it. I don't really have the experience, I have to say.
I'm going to wait to upgrade this one and see what these 10 can unlock. I think, honestly, probably just going for 3 heroes to Origin, the 1-star is probably... That way you can start upgrading your temple. Because, yeah, we only have, what, 107,000 left of this. Granted, you'll get more from the boss battles tomorrow. I just want to do the event before I start doing more boss battles, because I don't want to waste attempts.
The problem you will get is, like, the moment you can't beat bosses anymore, this resource rain that's currently coming over us will stop.
Have to wait for big events.
Yeah, we'll either have to wait for big events or wait for the campaign drop, but realistically, yeah, it's waiting for big events.
Like I haven't clicked loot today in a while, so let me see what we have sitting in here. 194 of those, 1,600 of those. So it's pretty much the same rate you get treasure crystals. I'd say I probably claimed this like 12 hours ago, something like that.
Yeah, it takes forever.
What'd you say?
It really does take forever. Like you will get 1 crystal every week or something like that.
Yeah, I don't see a DM, man. Talking to JC. What are you talking about? Oh wait, there it is. Okay, so JC has... Oh, wow. So you went 1 hero. He went straight in on Aspen. And he is currently transition level 4, which is... Aren't you capped at 4 right now anyway? You can't go to 5. Right? You can't actually go to 5 with your temple at level 1, right? Says he... Oh, wait. You're still Origin. Oh, okay. It's really weird, this system. Oh my...
Yep.
It's so weird because like you can do like me, I did upgrades, but I'm still at Origin. How? So confused about the screenshot you sent. Where?
I think there are multiple layers of upgrades there.
But like he has the Origin icon and his says transition level 4. What is this?
Transition level is the stuff you use the yellow stuff for, I think.
Yeah, that's like, oh yeah, that's the different screen when you're not going up to the next one. But this brings me to Surge, his screen. Oh, I see. Hold on. Wait, how are you out of the yellow? I had plenty of yellow to get all the way up to Surge. Yet he's running out at level 4 out of 5 on the transition level. That's so weird. I don't know how he ran out. I still got plenty left over, and I've done less bosses. Unless you've upgraded multiple heroes. Which would make sense. I don't know. We're gonna have to figure this out. Luckily, we can regress stuff for soul symbols, and I got a lot, so I can test it out. I
don't.
Yeah, you can't even buy it for $100 anymore.
Yeah, honestly, but like this soul symbol stuff, that's a bit of a problem. Like getting 10 soul symbols is not that easy at all.
Okay, so he said
Like,
he upgraded LFA twice. So your LFA is up to then what? You have a Chaos LFA that's giving 3 divine power, and then he's trying to upgrade another one. Then Scarlet Queen Halora first level couldn't get her to 100. Okay, makes sense. That makes sense. So yeah, right now if you invest in one hero, you're not going to be able to unlock the higher temple level, but that's not going to matter anyway.
I think I'm just going to go for 3 heroes. Oh,
So
nice.
there's nowhere that actually tells you your total divine power. That sucks. You have to know what your
I don't know,
divine
but you
power is.
can you can click on the pillars there in that screen.
Oh, does that actually tell you like the different ranks or whatever?
Like in the
Yeah.
transition temple, there
Yeah.
are those
You can
pillars in
see
the background.
they fill up. You can't see it behind my face right now, but like the pillar actually fills up as you get to 3.
Yeah.
And this tells you how many you can have of each right now. So yeah, you can take one of them up to chaos right now, which might be good. It might be good to just get my Vulcan way up there. I don't know.
I mean, like if you see main damage dealer for going against the bosses, sure,
Yeah.
why not? Then again, I mean, if it's really like it looks, and you
Actually,
can get 1 divine power by just getting 3 origin heroes, then this is
yeah.
also quite insane.
Because then each hero is giving you 1. Because you have, I'm pretty sure that's what this means. Like, I'm origin, so I get +1 divine power. It might be better spreading it out so that you unlock 3 transition skills, though.
Is it like, I mean, like, is it +1 divine power for the entire team, or is it like
Oh, I don't know.
one divine power only for that hero?
I imagine it's for your whole temple. Because your temple can give you divine power, too. So it's got to be your total team divine power.
That would be interesting. If that was clearly described in there.
Yeah.
Imagine that text.
The divine power, the sum of the transition temple level and the divine power of the destiny transition. So, in reality, right now, I hate how it doesn't start on the. So they have divine power 4. I could immediately cut that down of only a difference of 1. That's a difference of taking 40% more damage versus 10.
Does it show you divine power on your team somewhere?
That's what I was trying to figure out. I don't think so. Let me just jump into like Tower Dream. Like I don't see anything on like the battle screen that says it. I guess you. Because like that's the thing. Like this divine power, like if you get 3 of them, or if you just upgrade 1 immediately, that's gonna be insane because now you're just automatically doing 30% more damage to every game mode that's not these new bosses. And taking 20% less damage.
I mean, essentially, if that's your only damage dealer and you get, well, you don't get a 30% damage boost, you get damage boost for the divine power gap. So, like, if the enemy has divine power of 3 and you have divine power of 3, you can do your normal damage.
Yeah, it's just everybody does normal stuff, which is kind of cool. And like I said, I imagine in newer game modes we see, or probably will have divine power. Like, I imagine, like, even Aspen Dungeon, they'll have divine power ranks. I imagine.
Every single new game mode that we'll see from now on will have that.
Yep. But right now, this basically means this damage is going to apply to all old game modes, which is another reason why I said Star Expedition is going to get melted next time. Because by the time it comes around, I guarantee we probably have somewhere in the 5 to 6 range, because I'm sure we're going to get at least 1 or 2 more events coming up.
Yeah, some people like JC will go full on into LFA. And they will have insane attack on there and insane supports. I mean, even if you go into LFA and then you get like, I don't know, SQH on top of that, that's also a huge buff. MFF is useless, but SQH is also in that team. So like she will provide some buffs as well that will be useful. And I guess, yeah, I can definitely see that falling. But then again, on iOS, they were already on boss 1 in the last time we had SE. So, like, that's another thing. So
yeah, but
definitely,
they
yeah.
probably only had the possibility to get maybe to Divine Power 2 because the event hadn't come out. And now that they do, they can get up to 3 and 4, maybe even 5.
Yeah.
Which is a big difference.
Jesus!
Yeah.
Team does not have divine power indeed. Each hero has their own divine power. The temple gives bonuses to all ascended hero.
Okay.
Interesting.
So does that mean you basically so is it so each individual hero. That's weird. So like
Yeah,
if you only have one powerful hero, he can dominate the enemy, but the rest of your team will get dominated by the boss. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, pretty much.
Sucks. And then the temple just gives a flat bonus to your individual hero. So if you're up to here, that means your whole team will have at the minimum divine power 4. So that's why the temple upgrades is actually really important to actually follow that, because that increases your overall team's divine power. So it's kind of like this. You can either go for like a 3-star right away or try to like evenly build your team out. Oh, that's interesting. I don't know.
But I'm just looking at this. And if you look at just the temple level 6,
Yeah.
8 heroes
I know, right?
at origin. Which
Well,
means you have 8 heroes with full noble cores.
Well, no. This just means that's the cap that you can have. That's not what it takes to unlock it. Yeah, the unlock.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, right.
The
Okay,
unlock is I guess the only way to know the unlock is as you get to it. It's gonna take a while.
Another update again.
Probably to fix the event. That makes sense. Thanks for that info, Jesus. How did you even figure that out? Or are you just guessing?
Probably they updated the help text as well.
You know, I do it when I'm thinking. I always stroke the beard when I'm thinking, especially just at the chin.
Actually doing the same right now.
Thinking position. All right, well, I think I'm going to call it for tonight. Going for almost 4 hours. It was fun, though, going over all the heroes, I'll say that much.
Yeah, it was definitely fun.
Yeah, Afflicted, I think it's you take your temple power. So temple power, I think it gets applied to every hero on your team. And then you add that to your individual hero. So if you have like Temple 5 and you have like a 3-star hero too, their divine power will be 6. And then that's where you decide how strong the enemy divine power is, and you do the math to find the gap. It's most important talking about the new Void invasion bosses. It's just straight up damage bonuses against every other game mode out right now.
Yeah, and that's a huge upgrade of it, obviously. I mean, like, it will be a huge upgrade to Star Expedition to have a huge divine power. And beyond that, it will be a necessity to fight the Void bosses at all. Like, to be honest, they are increasing heavily in divine power. I wouldn't have expected that. Boss 10 will already be at divine power 6.
Okay, Jesus just wrote something too. So, to go from 1 to 2, we already know it takes 3 origin heroes.
Yeah.
But then to go to level 3, which gives you your first team divine power, requires 2 surge, which is the second tier up. Oh, if that's
which also means you need like a lot of those blue crystals from the event.
It means you need 5, 10, 15. You need 15 total just to get the 3 to there, and then you need an additional 7, 14, 28. Or no, you need an additional 14. The 2, 14 plus 15, that's 29 you need. Get 20 from the event, you can pretty much have 9 from the bosses. So it is possible to level up to level 3 right now on the temple, I'd say. As long as you have the yellow goo.
It would be good to have the numbers though. Like how much of the yellow goo you actually need. How much of the blue crystals you actually need to see if that already works.
I wish someone had data mine info already to like actually figure out the math. Because like that's my fear is I'm gonna take the 10 crystals and I can't, or the Aurora gems, and I can't do anything with it.
We'll have to wait for the next event, but that will be a problem in itself because we will have to wait for kind of a bigger event.
I mean, we'll probably get more of them in the next heroic scroll event in 2 weeks, I'd imagine.
Yeah, 2 weeks waiting. That's already cruel for me.
Yeah, I know. But luckily you can regress it. So if you make a decision,
yeah,
I can regress it.
First one will be definitely SQH from me now.
Yeah.
Actually, just bought a better copy while we were streaming.
God, I mean, I might. I don't know. So like, here's my tenant. Like, here's my setup right now. I have pretty much the 4 outlier ones here on this arc. HHA, the 2 light heroes, and Aspen are my like full houses, and then my 5th one, I have Queen in there, but she's only got like level 30 to 40. Not getting a ton of stats. I'm wondering if I should swap her in HHA or if his more powerful shields are better.
I mean, some HP on Scarlet Queen Laura is nice, but I would probably prefer HHA.
Because basically my team's going to be this plus just one other hero, whatever I decide to throw. Could be Asmodel. Probably need another support.
I mean, some form of support is definitely nice.
Which,
for Void bosses, if you run that,
could use Freya.
Probably, yeah.
I don't have a lot of power on her, so she might die early, but at least she's also giving more damage to like poison targets and some dodging.
Shielding, some dodge as well, exactly.
And healing a little bit. Right, she heals a little bit, right?
Yeah, but a small amount, I think, on basic attack.
Oh, it's self.
Oh yeah, it's self.
I mean, she also gives all damage reduction. I forgot all about that. She gives all damage reduction. Allies.
Yeah, when ally releases basic attacks or active skills, so that's very one of her best effects, actually.
I totally forgot about that effect. I'm just always hyper focused on the evolutionary effect.
That's 12% attack and 12% all damage reduction. That's huge.
Almost got her core maxed out. I just do more. Yeah, maybe I'll chuck her in there. She's a tenant, but all right, I'm serious this time. Where? Oh man, chat revenue $5.50 for that one donation by Skylo. Thank you very much, man.
Oh. Yeah, revenue on YouTube is not really that great for those live streams.
The ad revenue is pretty good for live streams, though. There's only been like, we've averaged about 180 people this whole time, but we've had almost 4,500 people come by.
That's very good,
so
actually.
That's pretty good for a stream. By tomorrow, it'll probably go up to like 7,000 or 8,000 total. Good video, anyways. All right, guys. 4-hour stream over. It's the longest stream I've done in like 2 years. You all. But it was... Remember, the boss has divine power. Oh, I know. No. I think the divine power stuff happens after all damage calculation. We'll have to see. The way it's worded, it makes it sound. All right, I'm going to sleep because I got to wake up in like 6 hours to get the kids. So I'll catch you later, Rex. Thanks for coming by, man. Again, let me see. Do I still have it? Nope, I have the
no problem, mate. I was happy to join in.
If you want to comment on this and drop your YouTube channel in the top comment, I'll pin it for you.
I will do that.
All right, man.
I will make sure to do that.
We'll catch you guys later. I'm gonna hang up on Rex now so I don't forget, because otherwise I will. See you guys next time.